we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Space Now Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate you tuning in as we have Merle. Merle is here for Ghosts of the Great White North, talking paranormal, hauntings, ghosts, spirits, and everything in between with our special guest, Courtney, the ghost girl. No, the Ghoul guide. Something to do with frickin' cookies and ghosts, and we will nail it. Dirty Filth is here with his art as well. Before we get going, let us say hello to everyone in our chat room tonight. Awesome Man B in the gold medal position. Race Fan taking home a silver while Roy Boy brings home the bronze. Latro kicking it off hard right there. Merle. Love it. And Cosmic Floor, Jeffrey DeRuin, D. Cohen, Kathy Evans. And, you know, Jules is going to get in the game. Merle it up, people. Merle it up. Toe Tag, how are you? Michael Fontaine, good to see you. Rui from Portugal, nice to have you back. And Michael Godbold, how you doing? Nightmare, good to see you. A Muse, Brown Dwarf, always a pleasure. Evan Walters is here. Evan Walters is going to be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Science Melinda, Steve Edmund Merling up. Samantha looking good. And Northern California Cubs fan, how's it going? And, well, there's the road trippers. They are merling it up, and Jules merling it up. Everybody's, oh, Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived. And what's he doing? Merle. That's what he's doing. YJ Overlander, how you doing? Good to have you here. Nicole Perron, Pixie Lara, nice to have you here. And Paul Holland, Vash the Impaler, Rain, nice to see you all. Shane, what's up? He's going to merle it hard. Scrub-a-dub-dub is here. Scrub-a-dub will be signing autographs after the show as well. Light up to the right of the studio, Marlena, nice to see you so much. Jake, nice to see you. Ozzy, oi, oi to you. Travis DeLuca, Holly Williams, Jeff Steve Garvey, he'll hit a home run for you. The Gansfeld Files, how you doing? Nice to have you back as we continue on with roll call. Nicholas Shaughnessy and Mr. Lurks-a-Lot. Good to see you guys here. Even Mr. Lurks-a-Lot's getting into it. Merle! Yeah, it just feels good. It feels good. Just let it rip, people. It's like good gas. You merle it hard, you merle it wisely, and you just merle it on out, and it just feels so good. It's soothing. Soothing. That's right. Bigfoot Rob. Hey, I will be on Bigfoot Michigan Rob's channel tomorrow, 10 p.m. Pacific or 10 a.m. Pacific for 2 hours. We're going to be talking, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about, but I'm sure it'll be good. And all of you are invited to hang out and hit subscribe on Rob's button channel as well. Grandpa Holland hitting the Merles up. And, there's Bigfoot Rob hitting the Merle. Look at this Merle love coming on. From Australia, Merle. That's right. It just feels good. Invisible Tracker, nice to see you. I better hit this radio side. There we go. Sensational Sherry. Penman, what are you doing, Penman? Alien Critter, nice to have you here. And Susie B., thank you for joining us. Noble Patrick, always a pleasure. And who else is here? Raven is Ryan or Ravenous Ryan. I still think it's Raven is Ryan. Jenny, how are you? I'm just done. I'm done. I'm just going to shut up now. almost time for showtime. The super chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Don't forget to merle it as much as possible each and every half hour here, because he's special. He's got high and tight haircut. And Courtney, the Ghoul Guide, is here. She will have cookies for everybody. She promised. That's how she wiggled her way on this show tonight. And we got about 30 seconds, and we are getting ready to rock. Once again, Super Chat is open. The store is open. I got my new Grantavius shirt on. There he is. Look at that Grantavius Max shirt. Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Media Fox, how you doing? Paramarv, thanks for coming on in. Sorry about hacking in your ears. But guess what, people? It's that time of the night. Let's rock. Horns up. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's News Wire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. A power show du jour is what we're ready for. We got Merle. We've got Courtney from the Ghoul Guides with cookies. And we are going to be talking paranormal all night long here. Then in hour number 3, we're going to head to the swamp, where Swamp Dweller has another spooky story for us. And Tim Senor is back for the UFO report. Shirky Poo has the news. At the middle of each month, my good buddy Merle joins us, where we get a little bit paranormal here at Spaced Out Radio for Ghosts of the Great White North. From the Paranormal Road Trippers just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia, Merle comes in as one of the top investigators across the country, looking for answers to everything beyond. Yes, he has gone and traveled all over British Columbia, Washington State, and Oregon, chasing the ghosts that are chasing the people away from their haunted locations. And tonight, we also make a special trek out to Buffalo, New York, where no NHLer ever wants to play hockey. All right, let's just get that right off the bat. All right, and Courtney is here. She is the Ghoul Guide, who has some incredible information, incredible evidence, and incredible haunted stories to share with us tonight on Ghosts of the Great White North. Merle and Courtney, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio. Merle, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Dave. I love the strong intro every month. Strong.
Well, the early bird does get the worm.
And I'm sure I'll have a new name in the next half hour, and then the next half hour.
Yes, you will. It's one of the games we play here, my friend, on Spaced Out Radio. Now, Merle, you, before we bring in the lovely Courtney here to speak with us, you recently have been doing some serious trending on TikTok, on YouTube, and on Instagram regarding a couple of short films that you made for social media. Tell us what's going on here, buddy.
Yeah, we did a little documentary on Mandy the Haunted Doll in Quesnel, which we've talked about many times on your show. And the Quesnel newspaper and a couple other ones up in the Caribou, they reached out to me and really want to capture the story more. They shared my video, and they also want us to come up there in the new year and walk them through the whole investigative process with a haunted artifact, which is really cool. We actually got quite a bit of traction still coming in on that one.
And you also had a haunted road in Abbotsford, British Columbia, my hometown, that has topped, I believe, over 400,000 views.
I
And
think
it was actually picked up by this guy named Chills. Tell us about
yes.
that.
We had a video on Abbotsford Haunted Road. Basically, it's an urban legend. It's if you drive down this road, you'll see the white lady try and flag you down, or a haunted dog will run in front of your vehicle, and so forth. And a lot of our followers on TikTok and Instagram, they reached out to us with all this folklore because a lot of them live there. And what we did, we decided to go there and try a bunch of these urban legend challenges and see if we can make contact. It's kind of out of our comfort zone. What we usually do is just your standard historical ghost hunting and all that sort of stuff. But we really kind of captured the urban legend. And we were very transparent. We didn't get any evidence. We got nothing. And we still posted the video just to show that not every ghost hunt gets evidence.
Well,
And
I thought you did get something, because on the Chills video that he borrowed from you on
mhm.
YouTube, one of the large paranormal channels called Chills, and if you ever heard his voice, it drives you absolutely nuts and wants to make you run your head through a wall. But nonetheless, he's got over 5.5 million subscribers, and he contacted you. And I thought there was something to do with one of the doors on your truck.
The door did open. Can we 100% call it evidence? No, but could it be something? Absolutely. So I guess yes, technically,
How can
we
you even
experienced
hold
something.
on a second here? The door opens on its own. The draw, aka bingo, doesn't open the door.
No, she didn't.
Okay. It opens the door, and you're wondering, geez, no, we didn't get any evidence. Gee, Jason Hawes, no wonder you didn't catch anything in 15 years.
Okay, fair enough. We had a demon open the door and try to take our soul, and it followed me home, and here we are. This isn't even
Better,
me talking,
better,
or is it?
much better. I don't know.
No, it was pretty cool. Like the door did open, and if you want to pick apart, like I pick apart my audio all the time, and there were two audio discrepancies. Like we use high-end Rode mics when we do our investigations to get rid of the shitty onboard camera. So sorry, Dave. Um, I know I don't know how I did that. The not great onboard camera microphones, and we caught a couple whenever I would mention self-harm, because that was one of the urban legends for down there. I got a blip or kind of like a static sound on our audio.
My goodness. My goodness. I mean, Merle, that's just great. And I love the fact that, I love it when people go viral on good stuff and good stories. There's no, and I know you personally. There's no playing games. There's no building up the tension and nothing there. There's no fake evidence or anything like that. And I think it's great. You know, I think it's absolutely great when you hear that. And by the way, great comment from YJ Overlander in our chat room. Chills sounds like when you play Ozzy Osbourne's records backwards. Yes, he does. Ugh. Oh
Actually,
my gosh.
actually, the Mandy video, we I think that's the best evidence I've ever captured on film was Sandra's hair getting like something moves her hair. That was
Not
it. That
evidence.
made
It's
the
the
investigation.
fan. You were probably blowing in her ear. No, nothing.
Nope.
Nothing. No evidence. Hey, speaking of evidence, we actually got somebody here who can catch some. And that is Courtney here, the Ghoul Guide. I love your name, Courtney. Love your name. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
doing
Welcome
great.
to Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you for having me.
It's very cool to have you here because, the one thing that Merle does a great job every month when we do Ghosts of the Great White North is he always brings in high quality people to come in and talk some ghost stories. So we're very glad you're here. I may get you to take your we'll test it on out because you are glitching a little bit on the camera side of everything, but we will try and get things going. But Courtney, tell us about you. How did you get into the paranormal?
Paranormal has just always been this like, weird little constant.
Courtney, I'm going to get you to turn your video off to see if that actually helps our screen here, because we want to be able to hear your audio there. And let's try that out. The paranormal, you've always had a real passion for it.
So I had this
Uh-oh, I think it's a connection.
It's definitely the connection. It's a ghostly connection. Courtney, do you have the ability to plug into your modem? Because you are using Google, right?
Yeah. If you
Yeah, because we're not even getting every fourth word here. So I'm going to put you behind the scenes here. Merle, can you chat with her online to try and get it going here? But
Sure.
The big thing right now for the paranormal scene, Merle, as we skip back to you here for a moment, is the idea that, for some reason in British Columbia, there's not a lot of ghost stories that really go viral. So, I mean, you got to feel pretty good about what's happened here.
I do. It's pretty neat. It's not something like let's make a viral video. My goal is to make a cool video that people will enjoy, especially with history and actual real time experiments and nothing embellished. And when what happened was with our Keeping Road one, we did a TikTok, and it was just Sandra. She just drove down the road and started telling some of the urban legends. And for whatever reason, it came to like I think it's over 400,000 views now. But that's not the point. The point is people loved it so much where they would share their personal stories of what happened on the road. And that's what I really like to know. I want to know the boots on the ground story versus the possible embellished. Like I want to hear everyone had an experience there. I don't know if you've ever been on that road when you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been up there many times.
Yeah, no, and especially like we have another one coming up in September where it's kind of like a true crime. It's going to be similar to kind of Keeping Road, and we're going to do some experiments there.
Well, you're an experiment kind of guy. Who's joining you on that one? Because Lord knows I never get an invite.
Do you want to maybe that one, Dave? Do you want to come?
No, I'm not. I'm not having a sympathy invite. I don't do sympathy invites. It's like, dude, I'm having a real tough time having to go to my nephew's wedding this weekend because I have been excluded from all family weddings and friend weddings for like over 15 years. And that beautiful streak is coming to an end this weekend. And now I have to attend this wedding, which, okay, it's my nephew. I kind of like the kid. All right. And, but, it's breaking my streak. So, I mean, it's like this. Merle goes all over the province, runs all around Dave, even goes north of Dave. And guess what? Oh, yeah, we were talking about it, and never calls me. That's my friend right here. Right here.
I just thought you'd be busy, Dave. I'm the victim.
All right, Courtney is back. I think now you're looking clearer.
Yay! Awesome.
All right, Courtney, we got a few minutes here. Tell us all about you and your adventures into the paranormal. How did you get here?
So I got here because I've had this like weird little love for it all my life. Ever since I was little, I grew up around cemeteries. Like at the end of my childhood street, there's actually like a 1.5 mile long of just pure cemetery. So I've always been around it. When I was about like 7 years old, I've had my like first paranormal experience. I saw a face in the bottom right of my window pane in the middle of the night. As I was on the second story. So there was no possible way anyone could get up there, but that was my first experience. I never told anyone about it until I really started doing the Ghoul guide. So that was always just like something I kept to myself. But when the like paranormal TV started coming out, I was super into that as well. So that just like fueled the interest and pretty much just like made me like want to like go out into the field and investigate and figure all this stuff out for myself. So ever since then, I've just been really into it. And then the Ghoul Guide came out of a quarantine passion project. I finally like just was like, you like to travel. You want to go to all these spooky places, just put it all together and see what happens. And ever since that, it's just been this like weird ride that I found myself on.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, you found your passion early on and what you wanted to do, and you've kind of followed the dream in regards to it. For you, what is the thrill, Courtney? What drives you?
So I certainly love the idea of telling other people's stories, especially especially for the people who didn't get the chance to say it. A lot of the places that we go to have a really dark and twisted history, and sometimes if you don't put it out there and no one learns from the history, we're only doomed to repeat it. And a lot of these places like asylums, TB sanatoriums, hospitals, they were really detrimental to a lot of pinpoints in history. And I just feel like these places, these stories should be appreciated and loved, and we can learn from them, granted if they had a really dark history or not. So that kind of what drives me in terms of like investigating. The thrill of getting scared is what kind of keeps me going. I would much rather do this than like go to like a real haunted house, like the Halloween attractions. I'm terrified of those, but like you can let me sit into like an abandoned building for hours on end and I'm there for it.
Earl.
I was just going to say, it's funny how that is, how you and I, because you're a fellow paranormal ghost person, you could put me in an abandoned, creepy house all day, but then be hesitant to go to like the jump scare places.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like I like the real time. I call it real time jump scares because like there's no actors where we go.
It's also true, but I've had my fair share of scares with all my friends, especially. I've come to realize that if I go live on Instagram, that gives them a reason to figure me like where I am. So that just gives them ammo to like just come out and scare me.
Has that happened?
Actually, yeah. Well, not like the ghost, but like my friends. We were at Waverly Hills back around Easter time, and I was on live. I was just walking around the building just by myself, and I didn't realize that like, hey, everyone else in the building can see where I am, and that gave them like the perfect excuse to like run and go, try to hide and scare me. And as I walked on the sun porch, I was like, I feel the safest out here. This is great. And as soon as that like sentence left my mouth, they came running out of a doorway and just scared the absolute crap out of me.
What was your first investigation? I know you said that getting into this was like a quarantine passion project, but what was your first and why?
So the first one that I like kind of really count is the Buffalo Central Terminal back when I was like a sophomore in high school. So this was probably around 2007. I investigated the Central Terminal with Dave Tango, Steve Gonzalez, and John Zaffis. It was like a paranormal little event. So I did that as like my first major one. That was kind of I just needed something to do. And my mom actually won tickets from like a radio station and I was super involved in it. Like I was like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And I ended up just going with her because no one else wanted to go. And this like seemed to be like a theme because I could never really get anyone to do all these paranormal investigations. So that's another reason why I made the Ghoul Guide, because I wanted to branch out and like make friends so I can go and see all these places that I wanted to see instead of just being like, I'll get there someday. So that was like the start of it.
Yeah, judging by your Instagram, you cover more tracks than even I do, which is quite impressive.
So pretty much since March 2021, I haven't stopped, I want to say. Mm-hmm. It's really been 5 days of work, and then come Friday, I'm on the road for 2 days. Sunday, I come home, and then Monday, get up and do it all over again. It has been like that pretty much since March 2021, and it is exhausting, but it's so much fun to like see all these places, get the chance to investigate these places more than once, get accustomed to them. It's definitely something I'm very grateful for.
Do you do like private haunts, meaning like personal residence or lesser known places, or do you more go to the more popular places mainly?
So I try to stay out of residential, like people's houses. It's just not something that I personally want to get into. I know there are some people out there who like to do residential haunts, but I am more so of like the lesser known places, in terms of like the old mansions or like asylums and like little like museums and stuff that we have around Buffalo. But I like to do like the lesser known haunts and then like the really big haunts and like the ones you've seen on TV, because I will say that I grew up on paranormal TV. I loved Ghost Hunters. I loved Scariest Places on Earth, MTV Fear. So I've always wanted to see the big places, and I didn't really care how I did it, whether if it was me renting it out privately with a whole bunch of friends or going on public events.
For sure. Now, when you go to these places, do you go for the tours? Do you go for the investigations? Like, well, what's your process style?
So I like to go. I like to do tours and I like to do investigations. There are some places where I've only did tours, only did investigations. I really like to get a sense of both. So when I went to Waverly Hills for the first time, I actually did a tour the day before so I could get all my daytime shots, get my nerves out about the place. So come the nighttime when we're walking around doing the actual tour, I can just relax and get jumped into that and completely be okay, instead of just being like, oh my God, I'm here for the first time. Like, this is insane.
You get the excitement out the day before, then it's go time. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a ghost hunter? Or do you consider yourself more an enthusiast?
This is a great question. I really think of myself kind of on the fence. I really love the paranormal. I have been investigating for the past like 10, 11 years now, but you know, like the last like 3 years I've been really, really into it. So I'm kind of like I don't want to say amateur, but I'm kind of new at like really diving in and like going to town on this. So I would say I'm on the fence. I don't know. I really love the paranormal and I really love investigating, but there's this fine line where I love the stories and telling the stories more than investigating like some other investigators do, because a lot of people have asked if I would ever get a YouTube, and the question is the answer is probably no, because I love getting really wrapped up into the investigation, just experiencing it for myself and being able to, you know, write a blog or show something afterwards. Like there are times where we bring you on the investigations with me. We go live on Instagram and stuff, and we'll take you in that way. But yeah.
No, I think that's great. You know, the one thing about the paranormal is there's a little bit for everybody. There's so many different niches. Whether you are somebody who is capturing the thrill of going to these locations that the majority of people only see on TV, or whether it's being like myself. I can't even call myself a weekend warrior because I don't ghost hunt that very often. Do I know how to do it? Yeah, thanks to this guy right beside me here. You know, Merle Bird's got the worm. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is. But I mean, I think it's great that you are establishing what you want and what you do, because I think a lot of times so many people in the paranormal, they feel they got to make up a title. They have to make up what they're doing. They have to make up their investigative techniques to try and, you know, outdo the next team or the other person. Whereas you're kind of like, well, screw it. This is kind of what I like to do. And I'm going to go have fun enjoying what I enjoy in life. And I find that actually very refreshing.
Well,
I appreciate
thank you.
that as well. Yeah.
It's I never really understood the whole like you have to be serious on investigations, and you know you have to follow it by like the playbook that like some person like mysteriously wrote or whatever. I just love going in there and being like, all right, like if it happens, it happens. I'm just kind of happy to be here. Like I want to see it. Like when we went to Waverly for the first time, I already had it in my head that if like nothing happened that night, like paranormal or not, I was just happy to be there. So if anything happened, it was just the cherry on top of it. So I feel like sometimes investigators like forget to have that like fun, which is refreshing.
Courtney, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Yeah. Merle, you hold on. We're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Spaced Out Radio's second half hour of Ghosts of the Great White North with Merle. Comes up next. Mr. Cowley.
That's Sun today.
Welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley
Oh boy.
loves his spaced out radio. That's all I got, Merle. You can take it from there.
I have an admission, Dave.
You've never heard the song Mr. Crowley by Ozzy.
I'm not an Aussie fan.
Well, you don't have to be an Ozzy fan to know Mr. Crowley.
Oh, I know the song. I'm aware of it. We just
You're
changed
the
the
kind of-
station when it
You're the
comes
kind
out.
of guy, literally, you're the kind of guy who walked around with flock of seagulls' hair listening to Faster Pussycat's House of Pain over and over on your Walkman cassette recorder.
And it was yellow and water resistant.
You got that right.
I appreciate how you are, how you just do you when you go to the ghost hunts and all the haunted locations. It's kind of a little fruition I have developed over the last 6 months ish, because I used to try to, I'll be straight, I used to try to fit the mold of the lead investigator or the researcher, but like this, you don't need to be so rigid in this field because it's so fluid. You can just take photos, take cool videos, get your EVPs, tell stories. A lot of it's storytelling.
Yeah.
And that's what I seem to like.
Yeah, and some of like the things that I've come to realize over the last like year and a half of doing the Ghoul Guide, a lot of the times where we had like some cool paranormal stuff happen is like when we're not even investigating at all and we're just hanging out, like we're either talking, just minding our own business, and then you'll hear all these knocks and taps happening, or you're capturing B-roll and you go to play it back to see your shot and you end up capturing an EVP on it. So I just love it for that, because you never really know when you're going to experience it. And if you're so rigid, like you got to think of it as if like you were a ghost. So if someone wanted to communicate with me and they were just being like, how, like just so rigid by the books, I would be so turned off. I'd be like, all right, never mind, get out of here.
Chapter 4 states to advise the ghost to knock 4 times. Like, if someone told me to knock, I'd do the opposite. And that's just how I roll, though. All right. We're still on, we're on break, right, Dave?
Yeah, but the audience can hear us, right?
Okay.
Tracy Benna, how are you? Ian McFadden, good morning to you, lad. Let's see here. D. Cohen with a giant Merle right there. That's got to feel good, Merle.
It feels great, but what I feel, Dave, that you should explain to the guests why, because she's probably like, who's Merle? Who's Merle? Why do you keep saying Merle? I am.
Well, if you would stop introducing yourself as Mike or Michael from the Paranormal Road Trippers and understand that people in the paranormal field know you as Merle and call you Merle, and just accept that because your middle name is Merle in the paranormal, your real name is Merle. So if you would just find the acceptance to something this beautiful in Merland, who knows? Maybe people would call you the Duke of Merle.
I was waiting for that one. I love that song, though.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Hey, there's Cable Guy Matt, everyone. Remember, if you see Cable Guy Matt, hit him up for your free piece of coaxial cable autographed by Cable Guy Matt. Limit 1 per household. You cannot buy these in stores. Hit him up today. And, hey, if you call him within the next 35 minutes, he will send you not 1, but 2 autographed pieces of coaxial cable by Cable Guy Matt. Hit him up today. 1-800-Cable Guy Matt. Love Cable Guy Matt. He stopped by my work today.
Did he?
Yeah. Yeah, Cable Guy Matt and I were hanging on out, And then his wife works at Tim Hortons, so I call her Cable Guy Matt's wife at the drive-through window.
Dave, I have a bone of contention to pick with you now that I think about it.
Does it have anything to do with our good friend in the chat room kicking off the super chat tonight with 20 American bones right there?
That's American money. That's $27 Canadian.
Mm.
As
Oh,
Jake
by the
likes
way,
to call it Amerikanski money.
I know. And I'm going to tell you, Jakester, that's going to buy some serious Taco Bell on Friday night. Serious Taco Bell. D. Cohen, thank you so much, buddy, for that awesome super chat as well. Love the support, guys. It really helps out what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And you got like 3 seconds, so you can't say anything now, Merle. Sorry. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for just taking the time to join us. Oh, it's off the rails here right now. Off the rails. Reminder to all of you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with our good friend Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers. He's here once a month for Ghosts of the Great White North, as we are talking ghosts all around the United States with the Ghoul Guide, Courtney, out of Buffalo, New York. She is a Sabres fan. Yes, she is a Sabres fan. And much like us Canucks fans, has no idea what the hell the Stanley Cup is. So Merle and Courtney, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Take it away, Merle.
Are you actually a Sabres fan?
A little bit.
Interesting. Okay.
So I used to be super into hockey when they were like in the playoffs, like back in like the heyday of like the 2003 like era, I want to say. And then once that stopped, I was like, all right, I gotta go.
Even when Lindy Ruff was the coach and Dominic Hasek was in net.
Yeah, Ryan Miller was in there. My favorite.
Yes. That was an okay team. Yep.
I was actually at the game where they retired all the numbers for the French Connection. So that was super cool.
That is very cool. Very cool.
So a question, because it seems to be, we get a lot of Waverly Hills guests now that have done there. Now, tell us about it. What's your opinion on it? Is it haunted? Have you experienced things?
Oh yeah. Like the first night I was there, it was probably like one of the wildest times. So Waverly Hills, if anyone doesn't know, it's an old tuberculosis sanitarium that was built for Louisville around the height of the TB epidemic, and it served the entire county. There had been thousands of deaths in there because of how contagious it was, and it was kind of like a self-sufficient community. The main thing that everyone kind of remembers about this place is a tunnel called the Body Chute, which is nothing truly scary. It was just a way for them to easily transport the bodies down the hill, so that the patients on the back porch didn't have to see the line of hearses that would come up daily. Because in the heyday of the epidemic, it was pretty much, they were losing someone like a death an hour, pretty much. So it was terrible, and they really were just focused on morale. So I think I've been to this building about 4 times now. This past year we did 3 nights at it back to back. It was a wild time. And I would say the first night that I was there, I had more activity than the last 3 nights that I was there. But on the last night, the 4th visit we had, so like the 3rd night of the 3 nights in a row, I ended up having like a shadow figure crouched down next to me in the doorway, and I ended up getting tapped on the shoulder, and I didn't even like realize it at the time. I thought it was water until I reached and like felt my shoulder, and there was like no wet spot there, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna ignore that right now and just move on with the night. But in my opinion, I think it's haunted. It's just a place that I've known about since I was like 8 years old. So a visit there was like 20 years in the making. And whether or not it was paranormal the times that I was there and I got to see anything that happened or like experience the claims that come out of this building, I just know it's haunted in my heart because I love this building so much. I really think that I was like a patient there in a past life because I feel very connected to like the TB sanatoriums and the buildings, and especially this one. So my answer is going to be that to me, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium is haunted. People will say that it's overhyped. Sometimes it could be, but then again, the paranormal doesn't perform on command, and it's kind of just like you have to be there at the right time at the right place.
That was my next question. Do you feel Waverly could be overplayed sometimes? Like, say, if it's tour after tour after tour, do you think the ghosts could almost be tired?
I definitely think that, and I mean, just like any other haunting, you can't expect the paranormal to come on command. So it's also a mixture of that, and then we've been kind of playing with this theory that what if we're the ghosts, and the energy that we experience in these buildings and these quote unquote hauntings, what if they're just the imprints of energy that we've left and we are the haunting? So we might not experience something at that time because we haven't left that impression yet. That is a fun rabbit hole if you want to go down it.
Explain it. Tell me your theory. That is actually quite interesting.
So it's been a theory that we've played with. It's a few other people have like mentioned it before, but we've come to kind of like just think about like, what if we're the ghost? So what if these places, sure, they are filled with like your typical hauntings, like the TB patients or anything like that, but what if we are creating egregores or thought form hauntings because we're going into these places night after night, kind of pushing our own energy, our own scared energy, our own, beliefs into this place. And we want to see something happen and something come out of it so bad. So, we're asking all these questions. We're, like there's a little ghost there named Timmy. So people are constantly being like, hey, Timmy, do you want to play? Do you want to play with the ball? Like, can you say Timmy back to us? So who's to say that we are not creating this Timmy that is there because we're putting all of our energy into this thought form? So that's fun. And then another way we can kind of spin it is that when I visited the Indiana State Sanatorium about this time last summer, at one point there were 7 of us sitting up on the stairs, and we saw 2 flashlights come into the room, and we assumed someone was walking into the room. Like you could see it shine up on the wall. And then all of a sudden the lights just vanished and no one came in. So we all like we're sitting there like, what is going on? 2 people ran to see what was happening. No one was out in the hallway. And then it got us thinking that, well, what if this was myself and another person from 2 nights ago who got stuck in that same exact doorway because of the bats, and we were just briefly seeing that in that time.
I could, what? I've thought about that stuff too. Can our energy imprints, our calling out for Timmy, manifest Timmy, make a faux haunting kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% think so, because Timmy's going to show up at some point, and if we keep putting our energy into that, and maybe Timmy turns into a bad spirit or a cranky spirit because everyone says, oh, Timmy, toothless Timmy will come after you and try and take your teeth out. So you expect for Timmy to come do that, and could your head be playing with you? We're like, oh my God, I felt somebody pulling at my tooth, or I'm just using a silly example, but I fully agree with that.
Yeah,
I think it's possible.
it's really just something really fun to think about, especially like when you're in these places, just letting your mind wander as it is. It's just been a fun little rabbit hole to go down and like to get everyone to start thinking about.
What is your biggest accomplishment with Ghost? Like your biggest location you've been to?
I would say Waverly was one of my biggest because that has been on my list ever since I was like 8, and it was like the number 1 spot.
The ultimate bucket list.
Yeah, so like going to that was like, holy crap. And then this year, I would say getting to go to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum down in Weston. I actually did that at the end of last month. We were coming home from Old Hospital in College Hills, which is like on the Kentucky and West Virginia border. So we stopped there to break up driving time. And this was actually my number 2 spot on my like must see list. So 10 miles out from it, I was like, holy crap, this is happening. Like, this is happening. Like, I truly never thought that like I would ever like really see this place or like get the chance to even like go and tour. So like getting to like go to the places I never thought that I would have a chance to go to and a chance to experience and just step back in time into has really been a huge accomplishment to me, or at least in my eyes. But yeah.
That was like for me. I went to my first American asylum, Saint Ignatius in Colfax.
Oh,
That place. Oh, well, I was in there alone for quite some time because I was helping a buddy out with his project that he's working on, and I was on the floor, the infamous Roses room, they call it. It's a previous tenant or patient that was there. She died there. She liked her beer, and she's kind of cranky to any male that came in her room. So I went in the room, and yeah, that place I would love to go back, but you kind of feel hesitant, but you almost feel addicted. I don't like to use the word addicted, but you feel like you want to experience more. It's almost like chasing it. Especially in those locations because they're so old and all of the energy that these walls can share. I want to know all of the stories and all of the tea and gossip that happened back when it was a functioning building.
Yes, exactly. I totally feel that.
Do you have any locations where you'd never go back to again because it scared the living out of you?
No, I actually haven't had one of those places yet. I kind of just I actually love to go back to places more than once because there are some places where I'm just a little too nervous and too excited about to like really appreciate it and really soak it all in. Like Bobby Mackey's. I ended up doing a Bobby Mackey's like 3-hour tour, just private all by myself. It was on the way home from Waverly, so I got like about like 2 hours of sleep, and then I was back on the road. And I went up there, and I felt weird in some spots, but I didn't know if that was just because of my own nerves or the fact that I was running on 2 hours of sleep and I was in Bobby Mackey's of all places. But I love going back to the old places, and I don't think there's one that I would ever like really shy away from again. Yet.
So what
We'll
scares
say
you?
yet.
What scares you?
I will say that I am uncomfortable being alone in the dark. As a person, like I know as like a ghost hunter that sounds weird, but when we do solos, and I normally come up with like the worst idea of solos, and I'm like, yeah, this would be so fun to do. But like when it comes time to actually do it, it's like crap.
It's my kryptonite too. I'll admit it now. I am scared to do alone sessions sometimes because I think I fall into the sensitive category where I can kind of feel things. And I don't like it when I'm alone, or if I can't control my environment, that is a weakness for me.
Yes, I feel that. And I'm trying to like work with myself more because, like I said, I just, I've been doing this for some time, but like I haven't been as hard as I am now in the past. So I'm kind of working myself up to go like to really start like pushing my limits and seeing like just how much I can take. So we actually do these fun little solo games to help get us out of these comfort zones that we put ourselves in, and we kind of dubbed it as the sticky note challenge. There's different variations of it, but basically we put all of our names on sticky notes, and one person hides them throughout the entire building, and one by one you have to go in by yourself, and the object is to find a sticky note. It doesn't have to be your own. It could be someone else's, but if you find someone else's, then that person gets to go. Or if you find your own, then you get to pull your name out of a hat, and whoever you pull gets to go. So it's kind of like you're adding to the suspense. And we did that at the Saratoga County Homestead, which is another TB sanatorium out in the mountains in New York. And it really does push you out of your comfort zone. I was in there by myself for about like 20 minutes. I didn't think I would ever walk these halls alone. So like it pushes you that way. So yeah.
Now, are you the Ghoul guide, or do you have a team that you are a part of as well?
So the Ghoul Guide is a one-woman show. I drive myself to all these locations. I investigate. I don't want to say all by myself, but I have a group of friends that I've jumped onto. They're some of the greatest people that I've met throughout this journey, so I'm so very grateful for them. But for the most part, it's pretty much just me and a handful of friends who have their own things going on, but we kind of all work together.
That's awesome.
I think that's cool.
It
I think
is.
that's
Yeah.
It's like a pack
because
going around.
it allows you to focus on what you're doing. It allows you not to have to abide by some pseudo team's rules or guides on how to investigate what you want to do, and I think it's fantastic, and good focus, very good
Thank
focus.
you. Like the friends that I've gathered, I've actually ran into my friend Steve. Like our paths have almost crossed at least like 4 times without us even realizing, up until like we started talking on Instagram. So we kind of just connect through Instagram, and then he has a company called Haunted Nights. It is a paranormal event company that he runs by himself with his friend Dylan, and he was actually my ticket to Waverly, and I bought a ticket to his event the month before to make sure he wasn't a murderer, because I was just going to go down to Kentucky with some random person I met on Instagram to go ghost hunting. And it just kind of took off ever since. And, everyone's kind of friendships evolved from these public ghost hunts that he puts on. So, I mean, who would have thought that ghosts would have brought a whole group of friends together?
Would you consider yourself an influencer in the field? That's my new question I ask to people.
So I know a lot of people would, but I personally don't think so right now. I just really like to tell stories, and I kind of just like to have fun. So this is like me doing the Ghoul Guide is me having a way to show you just all the thoughts and how I view these spaces, just to get them out of my head, and because I want to share like the history and stuff with you guys. So I'm not here to like influence you on how you investigate or how you do this, but if you want to like take me as an influencer, then so be it. But I personally don't think of myself as one. I just think of myself as a normal human being who likes all the spooky crap and just try to have some fun.
You nail it out of the park with the stories and the photos and the videos. Like today when I asked you, I'm like, what kind of camera are you? It's an iPhone. And I'm like, why doesn't my iPhone videos look that creamy? Like perfect.
Well, thank you. It really just hearing like how some people like see my account is just mind blowing to me, because I really started this just as a way to get, my thoughts out and like a way to connect. I really gave myself like until March to do it. I didn't really think it would stick with me, and I didn't think it would go, because I didn't really think anyone would like care to like hear another person just talk about the same old history, but something clicked, and it's just been a wild ride since. So I really thank anyone who's just joined the journey, who's loved the content, because you guys inspire me to keep going out to these places and keep wanting to tell these stories, because it's so much fun.
Exactly. And you've done the Conjuring House, correct?
No, I haven't. That's one on my list, though.
Okay. All right.
See, I'm gonna tell you something, and I mean this with all compliment to you. Mike knows, and if you watched any other the Ghost of the Great White North show, I'm not a big fan of the paranormal, and I hate all the popular spots, because it just seems like every ghost team bases their team on, we went to Waverly Hills or Bobby McGee's or Gettysburg, and
yes, Bobby McGee's.
But what I'm saying to you is this: you're different. And I like that about you. The fact that you're beating to your own drummer, that you're going there to show other people, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, show other people what it's like on a paranormal journey in these locations that everybody in the paranormal world tries to brag about. Oh, like you wouldn't believe how many times Merle and I over the years have had people on. Yeah, well, we're going to Waverly Hills and we're going to bring all of our gear. We're going to get some serious evidence. Merle, it's happened more times than not, Courtney. But I think you are a breath of fresh air for the paranormal. It's like an old hockey broadcaster here in Vancouver, Jim Robson. When he was broadcasting, he always had in mind the shut-ins and those with disabilities who couldn't make it out to a game, especially the blind. He felt it was his job to portray a picture in their mind so that way they felt what it was like to be at the game. And I see you doing that with the paranormal in these locations. So I may not like the locations because it's like, really, do we have to hear about Waverly Hills and all these places again? But looking at it now, at how you're doing it, it's refreshing, kiddo. It's really
Well, thank you so much.
Did you notice she didn't go into, well, I got the EVP that stated I'm the demon. She went right into the history, which is what I think you and I appreciate.
Yes.
And you went into your personal experiences versus the flex of Waverly. And that's what Dave is saying. And then you just do you. And that's yeah.
Well,
good.
thank you. I really do appreciate it because there are days where I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but here's a picture. Like, so it's great to hear it. And thank you.
Yeah, it's very refreshing on hearing the way you're doing things, because there are so many angles within the paranormal that are not being done. And I'm a firm believer that with all the brilliant minds in this field so far, we should be very, very close to some answers. And yet we're no closer than Hans Holzer was back in the day, running around with a tape measure and a looking glass. Right? I mean, I know that's not what he used, but I'm just making a facetious joke here. But I mean, that's the reality of it. And I think it's, if you can find your niche and do what's fun for you while enjoying what you are accomplishing, go for it. It's great.
What does this weekend bring you?
So this weekend actually brings me to Crescent Sanatorium, which is another TB sanatorium down in Pennsylvania, but it's been turned into a medium security prison that has been recently closed down. I want to say in like 2010. It's really cool. It's going to be me and about 7-9 other friends. And we're going to have the complete mountain to ourselves. So we're going to do one of the infamous solo games where everyone goes solo in their own building for an hour. So this is going to be interesting because I'm going to hate every second of it. And so that's on that's on Sunday. And then on Monday, I will be back at the Madison Seminary in Madison, Ohio.
Wow. It's a lot of ground. Do you do a lot of Civil War sites?
I actually haven't been to like much Civil War stuff.
Oh, Dave put his hand up.
Oh, we got 1 minute, guys.
Oh.
We got 1 minute. Go ahead, Courtney. Finish your answer.
Yeah, I haven't. I know Gettysburg has always been a place that I've wanted to check out, but I haven't just had the chance to go to that side of Pennsylvania yet.
All right, next half hour, I think we should talk about your top 3 locations and what you've experienced there.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's hear some ghost stories.
Ghost stories.
Rather than some Merle-esque type stories, let's hear some ghost stories from the Duke of Merle, from the Ghoul Guide. Where's our cookies, damn it? Yeah. This is
I actually have to make cookies this weekend.
You need a stamp for the Ghoul Guide cookies. You do. You need a stamp. Courtney from the Ghoul Guide, or she is the Ghoul Guide, and of course our main man Merle on Ghosts of the Great White North. Merle is from the Paranormal Road Trippers, based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Height unknown, weight unknown, but his hair is high and tight. as he goes searching for ghosts right across the world. Ghosts of the Great White North. We'll continue on Spaced Out Radio with Hour 2 next. Stay tuned. All right, we're clear.
Dave, see the cat?
Yeah,
Clear?
what's with the cat?
So I have forced air conditioning in my place.
Yeah,
And whenever it kicks on, she just sticks her head right on the vent.
nice.
The whole time
When did
it's
you get
on.
a cat? When did you get a cat?
2016.
All right, I'm going to refill my water.
All right. I posted today on Instagram of a haunted Ouija board.
Oh yeah, I
And,
think I like that.
Yeah, and the cat's gone now, but she's been acting really kind of batty with it. Like it's this one. It's from the 50s. Like it's so in Canada, all of our stuff is written half English, half French. So this is like pre-French. So it's just all in English. Yeah, it's like I think from like 50, 55 or something.
Yeah.
Like
My
wooden.
friend Mark and Deanna, they are huge Ouija collectors. So if you have any questions, definitely hit them up because they have, I want to say, like over 100 boards in their house. It's insane. They go to like auctions, like people even gift them to them. They're insane.
Yeah, I collect haunted items and haunted objects. That's one thing that we've been really doing a lot of, just to investigate them. I have a why are things haunted? Why can stuff have such influence? And ever since it's been in the house, I've heard noises. The cat's been all weird, hiding in weird spots.
Huh,
And,
that's interesting.
Will we use it in my place? I don't know. Maybe in a park. But yeah, no, it's really cool. Do you ever use the Ouija board? Do you ever bring it out?
I used it when I was probably like 13 and like those little teenage years, but I really haven't used it since. I do have a Scooby-Doo Ouija board though. It is one of like my prized possessions. My friend Steve somehow found someone who made it and he bought it and I was like almost in tears over it. And the next morning he sent me a text message saying that there was more. So instantly I snagged it. Someone from the UK had it or like had it made. And
That's
it's
awesome.
like the mystery machine is the planchette and like it says like yikes and or jeepers and jinkies and stuff on it. It's the cutest thing.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, let's hear some of your all-time stories next half hour.
Yeah.
From your places.
I'll think of some good ones. We can do a Madison one.
Okay. And before Dave gets here, because he hates this question, I'm just curious. What's your top 3 things you use in the field, gear-wise?
So I am downright terrible with equipment, actually. I like to say that I'm old school. So I constantly forget about equipment, even though I have a book bag of it constantly on my shoulders. Though I always use the spirit box, and then we do the Estes method with it. So I use that. I really love the Ovilus. My friend has the Ovilus 3 that I really love. So whenever she's around, I'm like, I want it.
The old one, yeah.
Yeah, the old one. I was like, I need this. I don't know how I'm gonna get it, but I need this. And then I really like a digital recorder, but I also just like using myself. Like yourself is like your greatest tool. Like, you know how you feel, you know when there's a gut in your, or you know when you have like a gut feeling and stuff. So yeah, I think those are like my top 3, 4.
Yeah, I agree. I'm basic as heck. I'm just audio recorder. I got a new piece of gear that I quite enjoy. The Flux 2 is actually in the mail right now.
Yeah, I want to say our friend Nat in ACG Paranormal, she has one of those. I've only seen it like go off a few times, so I really don't know much about it, but it is something I was eyeing up before.
It's worth it. It's kind of neat because I like a lot of proximity sensors. I like a lot of environmental changes, I think, or triggers, environmental triggers. I think that's where I get a lot of my best evidence from. And my friend Jake, he lives in Washington, and he comes up here and investigates with us. We go to Washington, and he brought it up on one of our last investigations, and we got a lot of cool. We actually heard footsteps in this hotel room. We weren't in there. We just had a static camera going. We heard footsteps, and then it walked by the Flux 2, and then boom, it went off. Awesome evidence. It was good.
Oh. Definitely going to have to check that out then.
Merle.
Earl.
It's good to see you again. Thanks for joining us for dinner in Vancouver, buddy.
No worries. It was fun.
Too bad you couldn't come to the concert and see the little guy rock out.
That would have been good, cool, worth it to see Colby do that.
Yeah. It was nuts, dude. Getting him up on front row. He's pretty stoked about it still. It was good stuff. Let's see. Oh, hey, Clam. Thanks for coming in. Who else has joined us? Big J, good to see you. Jules wants everybody to merle it up, so pay attention to Jules. Merle it up, people.
Classic.
Because it's time. I want to say thank you to X1, Thomas, D. Cohen, and Ghostly, a.k.a. Jake, for the amazing super chats. We really do appreciate the love. And don't forget, you can do some shopping on our website, spacedoutradio.com, as well. So let's make it happen. Here we go in 10 seconds, everyone. Here we go.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. We have Pactolian. Pactolian is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, or on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. The Paranormal Road Trippers, Merle is back from Vancouver, British Columbia, where we take a look around the world at the ghosts that haunt us. We call this the Ghosts of the Great White North. And if you missed the first part of the show, you're definitely going to want to check out our archives. Merle has brought in a special guest tonight from Buffalo, New York. Courtney, she goes by the Ghoul Guide, who takes tours around some of the most haunted places in the United States and lets you follow along while she goes live on video for it. I love the idea. Merle, Courtney, welcome back.
Hello.
Thanks, Dave.
Courtney, you've obviously been around to a lot of locations, a lot of places. You know, what are some of your favorite hauntings? Go into detail for us.
Ooh, so I have had the pleasure of visiting a lot of places recently. But if I had to pick a top 3, I would say the top 3 scariest places that I have been would definitely be Waverly Hills, of course, but also the Saratoga County Homestead out in Galloway, New York, which is on the other side of the state for me. And then there is also the Madison Seminary in Madison, Ohio. What ones do you guys want to hear about first?
Merle, go ahead.
I want to hear number 2 first.
So the Homestead. The Homestead is an old TB sanatorium out in Galloway, New York. It has been it's a beautiful building that has sadly been left abandoned longer than it was in operation. It started out as a TB sanatorium, and then as the epidemic waned off with the cure, It turned into a nursing home and then it closed down in the 70s and then has been left just sitting abandoned in the middle of nowhere in the Adirondacks. It is a glorious place, but it is pretty much a former shell of itself. It's kind of really sad to see just what it could have been. If you're on my Instagram recently, I've been doing before and afters with old photos that the historian from the town has given us or given access to, and I had them blown up and laminated, and I've been going into some of the rooms and giving you a before view and an after view of what it looks like, so you can look there. But about a year ago, I've had one of my scariest nights that I've had in this location. It was myself and 2 other friends. We were the only people in this massive location, and the night started off relatively fine. We started off in the basement, and in the basement there is a spirit of the name Charlie, who is the former maintenance man who just hangs out down in his little workspace, kind of keeps an eye on things. And I don't know if it was him, but we decided to go lights off, and we were on Instagram Live the entire time this was happening. So everyone watching was just in the investigation with us, and we went lights off. We let our eyes adjust. We probably had the lights off for about five minutes at this point, and I was standing right next by the threshold. There was some space between us, or myself, and it, and I didn't want to look over my left shoulder, just out of nowhere. I did not want to look over my left shoulder. I felt something really was just off. And I finally gave in, and I looked over and I saw this giant shadow figure, just pretty much as high as the threshold of the basement. And I remember being like, no, it's just graffiti. It's the way the wall is cut out and deteriorating. It's fine. Don't think anything of it. And about 2 minutes went by. I still had this weird feeling, but then it slowly went away. And as it went away, my friend Steve, who was standing across from us, and I was standing next to my friend Dylan, he saw a shadow move away from Dylan. So he goes, hey, can you take a step and can you move so I can see where you are? And the shadow went towards the right. Dylan went towards the left. And he was like, nope, we have to turn the lights on immediately. So we turned the lights on. And the first thing I did was look right at the threshold where I saw the shadow. And they had me on Instagram Live for at least 10 minutes just staring at this thing going, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I was just full on panicking. So we had that happen. We moved up to the second floor. And the second floor is pretty much one of the most active spots in that entire just area. The entire second floor. It's the weirdest thing. So we had a digital recorder that we left in the children's wing. We left it there for about 10 minutes. In theory, there literally should be nothing on it. It should have captured anything. But when we played it back for everyone on Instagram, there was an EVP of a man saying, there's a girl with them. There's a girl there. And I was the only girl on the property. So that was the kind of the tipping point. We were seeing shadows behind us. We were hearing footsteps all night. But the kicker was, we went back down to the basement. And this was probably around 2 a.m. I wanted to go down there, say my goodbyes, because I was going to start driving the 4 hours home right afterwards. And we went back down there. I didn't think anything would happen. But as we were kind of just doing one last EVP session, we heard a breath get taken coming from behind the phone as we had it set down on the floor, and we could start seeing movement coming from the tunnel area where Charlie's workspace was. So we were just panicking and slowly, quietly freaking out on the camera. And for some reason, someone said we should go down there, and then the entire chat was yeah, you guys should totally go down there. Of course, from the comfort of everyone's house as they're watching us and not actually have to go and face this. We walked down to the other side of the basement, and in the basement, it really was nothing. It was just rec rooms for the women's and the men's ward, and it was separated. So we walked down through the little tunnel area, and we go to the women's side, and we're about to set the phone down, and we hear this dragging noise of some sense. And our friend Steve goes, okay, I've heard that twice. So we all just stop and we turn around and kind of like look to where we're hearing this noise. And the only thing that popped in my head that I can like equate the sound to is someone having like something really heavy on a tarp and just pulling it every so often, like as if they're just dragging it down a hallway or something. So I instantly freak out because we're in the middle of the woods and I'm from the city. So I know nothing about animals, and I know there's coyotes there and bears. So I looked to my friend Steve and I was like, what is that noise? And he's like, I have no idea. So he captured my fear face and I just instantly just lost all color. And I was like, we need to go. We need to go right now. We started walking back as we were leaving and just trying to leave the area in case it was an animal. And we stopped in the hallway and we could hear the noise following us. As soon as I heard it following us, I took off. We like ran outside into his car. We did a lap around the back and like try to see if any of the motion sensors were off or any barricades we put up were kicked in. Absolutely nothing was touched. There was no way like those noises could have even happened in my mind. And the boys actually went back the next morning. So about like maybe 6 hours later to do tours, and they looked through that entire basement and there was nothing in that area. There was nothing that could have really even made that sound. So that whole night was just insane to me, and it's like one of the scariest nights that I've had in that building.
It's a lot of act. Yeah, that would be, especially for capturing all that. Have you ever been followed home? Because you said that you drove. Sometimes you'll drive home immediately after, like late at night. Have you been followed?
I don't think I've been followed. So unless I have, and I just haven't been paying attention to it. I also kind of like live in a paranormally active house. So if anything, I kind of just like chalk it up to the passing spirits from like the cemeteries and whatnot, which is fine. But I really don't think anything has followed me home. If I do feel sketched out at some of these places, like I remember at Bobby Mackey's, I did it just because of like the lore. And I was also like not trying to kick anything home if that whole legend of Bobby Mackey's was true or whatever. I wipe my feet 3 times and say whatever stays here must remain here. And that's just kind of like a little like kind of like an ease of mind, I guess you could say. And I have black tourmaline in my car just for my own peace of mind for like when I'm driving and stuff. But yeah, nothing's followed me home yet.
All right, number 3.
So Madison Seminary is a weird little place out in Madison, Ohio. It's been featured on like Ghost Hunters, Destination Fear, and it's just this, I can't really describe it. It's just this weird little place that you really have to go and experience it yourself. It used to be a reform school for boys where, you know, they named it the seminary because a lot of the boys going into the school here turned into priests. And then it got turned over into the Women's Relief Corps. So it took in families who were displaced from the Civil War. So there's a Civil War side to the building, and then there's an actual hospital side where it would turn into like a nursing home type of thing. And they kept patients up in like the third or like the asylum. There has been tales of botched abortions. They're like babies getting sold out of there or just misplaced, and like the women coming out of here were treated very poorly. So it has a really dark and messed up history, but this place, it just kind of comes alive, and it kind of like takes a few visits for you to like kind of like start seeing it. The story I have was the last time I was there. It kind of just like really freaked me out. So we went back in November and we were celebrating my birthday there. So 3 of us ended up staying in the seminary overnight while two of our friends grabbed a hotel. And we didn't go to bed till probably about like 6 a.m. We were just going to lay down for a quick nap, and then we were going to power on home and go our separate ways. But so when we woke up in the morning, we realized that we needed to still find like a missing piece of equipment that we misplaced in the for the public event that happened. So we looked on the Civil War side, couldn't see anything. And then we moved over to the hospital side, and it has 4 floors. So we all kind of looked around the first floor, and then we decided to take a floor individually and then just meet from there. I took the second floor. My friend Deanna took the third, and her husband took the asylum. So I was treating this also as a time for me to get B-roll and pictures, because I didn't know when the last time I was going to be here, and it was also winter, so I wasn't going to be traveling. I needed photos and stuff. So we went in each room. I could hear Deanna walking around above me, completely fine. Even for someone who doesn't like being alone, I was just loving it. And then at one point I couldn't hear her anymore, so I just assumed she went to the other side, or she went upstairs to go meet her husband. And I was just like, all right, I'll go up to the third floor, find her, or go up to the fourth. So I went up to the third, walked around, did this, got some pictures and videos, still couldn't find her, but I was hearing stuff happen above me in the asylum. And that's like one of the most active spots that that's been said, and like we've come to realize too. So I was hearing like walking, I was hearing doors move from like what it sounded like. So I finished up my pictures and stuff, and I remember taking the last shot of a chair down a long hallway, and I remember getting that. And as I got that, I took it and I started walking away. My foot passed over the threshold into the staircase, the only staircase that is on that side of the building. And I got a text on my watch. So as my foot stepped on the first step going up to the 4th floor, I looked at my watch, and it was a text from Deanna saying, hey, we're going to get a table at breakfast. We'll see you there. My heart sunk. I had a pit form in my stomach, and I just stood there quietly and listened in the staircase leading up to the 4th floor, where I thought people were actually walking around.
Wow.
But I just stood there, and the longer I stood there, I realized nothing was coming from that spot. There was no one up there. I could hear absolutely nothing. And part of me regrets not going up there, but I turned around so fast and ran down the stairs. I probably didn't even touch a stair. But I ran in there, and I busted open the door, and they had their hand on the door leading outside right as they were about to go. And I was like, where were you guys? They're like, we've been here. I was like, no, where were you guys? Like, something was going on. Like, I need to know. And they're like, no, we were here for like, I don't know, it was the last like 5 minutes. I didn't hear them like walk down the stairs. I didn't hear their voice. I didn't hear their shoes on the steps or anything like that. So like, it just boggles my mind how I didn't hear a single word they said or did or moved. And I'm just like, holy crap.
Do you feel you could have had time loss or even some sort of trance out session or something happened to you?
I don't think so. I've always wanted to experience time loss, as scary as that sounds. I just want to experience it because some of the stories that come out of it are crazy. But in that moment, I don't think I experienced anything. I think it was just me being naive, just wandering around a asylum or a haunted hospital in the middle of the morning, just kind of taking the last moments in, and things just happened at the right place at the right time.
Number 1.
Oh, so Waverly Hills. The first night that I ever went there back in March of 2021 was probably like one of the scariest nights that I've had. I didn't expect it for it being my first time at Waverly. The story I would tell is the last hour and a half of the night kind of popped off for us. It was myself and 3 other people in the body shoot. We had a group of about, I want to say like 10 that night. And this was all people we met on Instagram. So like we were pretty much just meeting for the first time. And it was me and 3 other people. And we were kind of hanging out in the body shoot. The rest of the group had no idea where we were. We all just had walkies. So we were going to communicate that way. But the 4 of us were down there. We were taking pictures, kind of just hanging out in the space. And we put our recorders down. We were about to, do like a REM pod session or get it out and see what could happen. And I remember someone stopping their recorder, and I looked at mine on the floor that I just put down, and I was like, no, I'll keep it going. It's fine. And I was sitting on top of the body chute, like where the stairs are. if you don't know what it is, it's like 2 stairs and a landing, and then 2 stairs and a landing on one side, and then on the other side it would be a concrete slab, and then 2 tracks on it for when they had like the gurneys and like the things that hauled up the materials from the bottom. But the tracks aren't there anymore. So I had my recorder sitting on that, and for some reason I couldn't stop looking at the door. I just had this weird gut feeling that either something would poke itself out or we were going to get chased down it for some reason. And what sucks is that that's the only way in and out of that space. So someone believed that they heard something coming from the bottom of the hill. So I finally looked away from the entrance and looked towards the bottom. I had my recorder going. It was probably recording 10 pure seconds of silence as we were just listening to see if we could hear anything again. And as my recorder flipped over to a minute, all you heard was this giant door slamming, followed by 4 girls screaming absolute bloody murder, because we were so involved in like looking down the other side of the tunnel that it just came out of left field. At one point, someone was like, "What was that? I don't know." And one person ran towards it. We're like, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "Well, we have to figure out what it was." So I ended up running with the other girl, and we just darted. I thought it would be the door leading to the hospital in from the little walkway. But come to find out, it was the emergency exit door, and the motion light outside was actually on too. What makes the story even worse is that the other group had no idea where we were. They didn't even hear the door slam. They didn't hear us scream, and they didn't even have their walkie on them. So after that happened, we tried to like hang out there, see if we can like contact anything that, like slam the door or whatever, but nothing was coming through. So we were all hopped up on adrenaline and we started walking. I remember having the walkie in my hand, and I like jokingly said, you can't ignore me. And I don't know if like the ghosts that were messing around with us that day like took that as like a warning or whatever. It was like, well, we'll see about that. We walked past the morgue and we were going to go try to find everyone. And I remember being in the staircase. I was about to like turn the corner, and you could just hear what sounded like 2 girls giggling. And then out of nowhere, it was just metal scraping across the floor. I heard it clear as day. I can still hear it in my ears now. And I was like, holy crap. That's the body tray, like coming out of the body cooler. Like that's a claim that's been known to be heard and known to happen. So I instantly thought that, but, we went back there, couldn't figure it out. We tested the chair that was actually outside of the morgue, and that sounded just like it. So we went on that. We were freaking out. We went back to the staircase, and we were still hearing these voices. And I was calling up. I was like, "Guys, if you can hear us, like, this isn't funny. Like, you have to let us know if you're talking. Like, where are you?" And like, no one would say anything back to us. And we were like screaming up to them. And it probably took about like 2 minutes later that we were walking and was like, "Hey, like, were you guys yelling?" And we're like, "Where have you been?" Like, and then we kind of rounded out that night with this thing called the Waverly Challenge. So if you ever go to Waverly Hills, it's this fun little challenge that you can do where you're supposed to do it by yourself, but this night we were just all scared, so we did it like 3 by 3. You're supposed to do it by yourself, sometimes without a flashlight if you want to go hardcore with it, or if not, and you walk the floors up into the 5th floor, and then you have to walk all the way back down by yourself. So when we started, it was my 3 friends. They started up at the 5th floor. We knew that they were starting, but we didn't know where they were. So they went up to the 5th floor all by themselves. And as I was still getting ready, they were claiming that they saw a flashlight beam in the staircase and heard my voice. So they assumed I was coming up the stairs, but then they gave it a minute. I never showed up. 2 minutes after that, I was the one on the walkie saying, "Hey guys, we're on the 1st floor. We're going to start now." And that scared them. So we walked floor by floor. We ended up meeting up on the 3rd floor. And my group got there first. So as we were walking, we asked the question, like if you see something down there, and
Courtney, I'm going to get you to hold that thought for just a couple seconds here, because we need to go to break here on Spaced Out Radio. It's going to be good times as we continue with Ghosts of the Great White North with Merle and the Ghoul Guy, Courtney. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're clear.
perfect.
We'll have to finish that story when we're back on. I want to do the Waverly Challenge. What do you win? Oh, wait. We'll ask that later.
You win bragging rights.
Okay. I used to be a runner.
It's actually funny. This time around, we did a glow-in-the-dark Easter egg hunt there because it was the day after Easter when we went. So we all split up and just went to town.
That works. I want Dirty Filth's drawings for tonight, especially the cat wrangler one. I like that one.
Well, let me pull it up here. Let's pull up old Dirty here.
Oh, yeah, Dave, I forgot my bone of contention. Where's my Merle swag that you keep promising me?
You know what? It's tough, dude. It's real tough right now.
All right.
And the reason why it's tough right now is because I'm a forgotten soul.
Oh, here we go.
I'm a forgotten soul.
I'm more forgotten.
Jerry Elmore, how you doing? Ross Lambda. Commonwealth Andrew. Diesel Girl, how you doing? Super Ron, number 13. How you doing? Andrew, how's the gnome trucking? Why the big secret? Hello. Merle.
Yeah?
I'm just saying. Can a guy just say Merle?
Merle.
Merle.
That's a strong drawing. That reminds me of that time when I was in the bush with Dave on a little Sasquatch excursion, but it was really a ghost hunt, but Sasquatch took it over by a plane crash.
Yeah, that was scary.
Well, we taking it the last half hour, Dave. We got to finish the story because it's a strong story.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still story time with the Ghoul Guide. Maybe she'll have another story. And then, are there any audience questions?
Not really.
Okay.
They're just tuning in tonight.
All right.
Come on, Merlene. That's nice. That rolls off the tongue well.
Which one?
Come on, Merlene.
Merlene. Oh, boy.
Come on, Merlene. Come on, Merlene Telluride. Come on, Merlene Telluride. Come on.
Away.
I'm not scaring anybody away. In fact, my audience just increased by 1.
All right. You're bringing them in.
That's right. Merle in the woods. Look at that.
I love that. It's good. That would be my exact reaction, too.
You forgot some poop in there, Dirty Filth. He's so talented.
There's no poop. It's too late. I'm sorry, Dave. On the next one, I'll make sure there's poop. I promise there will be poop on the next one.
All right, because literally Merle pooped. Low Pro, how you doing? Unknown, how you doing, buddy? That looks awesome.
Look at Sasquatch just sneaking out from behind that tree, no problem.
It's every time.
Every time.
60%.
Black
Merle's going to
Panther.
change his shorts after that one. Sorry, Merle.
It's true, though. Or is it?
Oh, wait a second.
Raz says he lost his Merlebles.
That's a good one.
That's nice. Very nice. All right, we got 20 seconds. Thank you, Jake, D. Cohen, Thomas, and X1 for the super chats. Very much appreciate the love and support. And here we go, everyone, with the next half hour of the show. Let's rock it out. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Come on, Merlene. Come on, Merlene. Yeah, our man Merle is here for the final half hour of Ghosts of the Great White North. Yeah, Merle joins us from the Paranormal True Road Trippers out of Vancouver, British Columbia. And our special guest tonight, the Ghoul Guide, Courtney, out of Buffalo, New York. Courtney, right before the break, you were telling an exciting, spooky story, I believe, from Wakefield Hills.
Yeah. So to continue it, we were walking up on the third floor, and the third floor really isn't like known for much, but it does have some shadow figures and whatnot. So we were walking up on that, and as we were walking, me and another friend, we asked the question like, hey, like, do you see anything down there? And we were kind of just asking it openly. And from the right-hand side of me and her both heard it audibly. So we heard a disembodied voice say, it was me. And we kind of sat there, we're like, wait, like, what just happened? Like, who just said something? And then we were like, hey, like, did you guys just say something? Like, is there a girl with you? Because we met up with our other group of friends that was doing the Waverly Challenge with us. And they were like, yeah, it's our friend Hannah. And we were like, oh yeah, no, it's totally cool. Like, like that voice had to be hers. And instantly the boys go, well, she didn't say anything. And we just kind of looked at each other. We're like, no, wait, what? And probably about like a week after the investigation, we were all kind of like talking in group chats, sharing evidence, talking about the whole night. And someone shared the recorder that they had playing that I didn't even know happened or was even recording as we were doing this. And we caught the voice saying it was me on the recorder. And as soon as I heard it, it was my friend's Hannah's voice. But we all know that she didn't say anything. So it was weird to hear one of those doppelganger voice or the mimic voice actually mimic one of your friends that you can pick out, like whose voice you can pick out of a crowd, actually be captured on recorder when we know she didn't say anything. So that whole EVP I think we got was probably like one of my favorite EVPs anyone has captured, because you literally got the whole thought process on recording along with the evidence and other people saying like, no, like she didn't say anything. So I thought that was cool. And that was like the first night I ever spent at Waverly. So that was even better.
I find those doppelganger voices or almost like trickster style voices pretty unsettling. Like we were at a historic house a couple weeks ago, and when we were leaving, we were Sandra and we were guest investigators with a team, and we were leaving. I was ahead of the pack. I was walking with a couple of the other team members of the other team, and Sandra was kind of behind with another girl, and she said she felt me come up behind her and say Sandra, and she freaked out. It was pretty good. She flailed around in the whole 9 yards, and she's like, "You just said my name." I'm like, "How can I say your name when I'm not even in earshot away from you?"
Oof.
And she's like, "It was so clear, and it was literally like in her ear. Like I went like for like a creeper whisper."
Oh,
And then when she looked back at the house, she felt unsettled, and it was odd.
yeah,
That is a
we've
weakness for me with that, like the doppelganger voice.
we've had that happen at another place. Actually, just in May, we went to the Mid Orange Correctional Facility. So it's an old correctional facility outside of New York City, so about like 60 miles away from New York City. We were leaving the one back dorm, and we thought our friend was on the stairs, and we were holding the door open for him, and we could have swore we heard his voice inside the building, but then we all turned around and he was standing outside. Like there was no, like he was standing out on the walkway or something, like, and we could have swore he was right behind us in the doorway, like on the stairs, like near the door. And so I don't know, it's just it's really weird to like witness and like to hear, especially when the person is nowhere around, or like you can physically say like they did not say anything in that moment. So I don't know, it's just a weird little thing that happens that we
It's
have to learn
almost
more of.
it's exactly. It's almost like baiting somebody to go back alone.
Oh, I never really looked at it that way, but that's interesting.
Because the handful of times I've experienced that, like I've heard my name from like who I thought like you think you hear your friend call your name or the other investigator when you're leaving a building. And how many times have you gone back in? But then you get the creep feeling, and then you see your friend, so then it kind of disengages that interaction with what could happen.
That's also very true. That's something to keep in the back of my mind now.
It's creepy because there was one house that we did, and that happened. There was like Mike, and I'm like, yes, and I thought it was my friend Jay at the time, and he was already at our vehicles. But then I heard my name again, and I went back in, and then I heard like a kind of like an audible growl, and then I'm out. That was it. That was the night, and who knows if I would have went in further, what could have happened, or if I started to try and communicate it when I'm alone. Like, do you ever investigate alone?
I try to sometimes. It doesn't really work out. Like
Mhm.
I said, I kind of hate being alone, but I also love like just letting myself immerse into a space. So I'm working on like pushing myself to like physically like be alone and like investigate and like ask the questions that I definitely want to ask. That I don't want like other people, not like other people to hear, but like, I want to make that emotional connection, like by myself. So I'm definitely trying to push myself to do it more this year and the years coming. But yeah.
Do you feel sensitive? Like, do you feel you can communicate? Because you said earlier that you use yourself as a tool. Do you feel you
Um,
can pick up on things?
I feel like I have a strong intuition. Sometimes I don't like to believe it, but other times like I feel like it's very spot on. Like there was this one crazy instance where it was me and my friend Deanna. We walked into the nurses, like the middle of the nurses station at Indiana State Sanatorium, and the middle just branches off into 4 hallways of just rooms. And we both looked at each other at the same exact time, and we were like, we need to get out of here. And everyone was like, oh no, we'll do like an EVP session. You guys are feeling this, like we need to communicate. And like we were so adamant. We're like, no, we need to leave. We don't know why, but we need to leave. And we kind of just pushed, like just got down the hallway and got outside, and we were trying to find our friend. And not even like a minute later, we heard the same door we came out of that we know closed push open, like the push bar open. So I don't know if we were feeling like something definitely being around us that time, but that was one of the moments where I feel like my intuition was super on point. So in terms of like being sensitive, I guess you can say, I'd say that like I can, I don't know, feel out the weirdness. Like I can definitely tell like when vibes change in a room, but I wouldn't say like I'm sensitive and like I'm medium or anything like that.
Fair
Like I
enough.
just pick up on vibes.
Absolutely.
What do you want to experience?
Oh, I really want to experience a full body apparition. I love shadow people, so I feel like I constantly see shadow people, so I'm just used to them, even though they scare me sometimes. Like it depends on what they're doing. But I really want to see and have one of these moments where I'm just completely dumbfounded by what is happening. There was this one story that came out of Crescent of someone cleaning up the area. Like they were cleaning up the old jail cells and stuff, getting it ready for a tour, and clear as day behind him, this man heard another man say, "You're doing a great job cleaning." And he went to turn around to like say like, "Oh, thank you," and like talk to the guy, but there was literally no one there. I want that. I want those weird experiences where it's so clear that you can hear someone behind you, and I want to see a person, where people say they were literally right there. But I don't know. I kind of just like these little experiences that I've been having where I'm walking away with experiences that I can talk about that kind of freak me out and kind of freak other people out, but it still gets me to be like, okay, well, I had this happen and it lines up with this, so what could this mean? If that makes any sense. But yeah.
How about, I'm more of a crossover guy than Merle is. What are your thoughts, and how about your thoughts about the idea that the paranormal may be something that is all encompassing? Have you ever had an experience, or would you be open to an experience where all of a sudden, instead of taking pictures of ghosts, you're getting pictures of aliens or cryptids?
Oh, yes. I love cryptids. The Jersey Devil was one of my favorite, like the first ones I found out about. And I really do think like it could cross over. To me, the cryptids and paranormal, they kind of go hand in hand because we don't know what cryptids are. They're paranormal. So at least to me, they go hand in hand. But there have been times where we think we are, we went in thinking that we're dealing with ghosts and, dealing with the spirit. But then by the end of the night and after a weekend of, pondering on everything, we're walking away with a completely different theory and how it could be related to the Fae or how it could be related to, something else that's worldly. Sorry, I can't say that word. That we just can't, put our finger on right now. We're actually dealing with that with like one of these locations that we go to. Like, I don't want to say too much about it because we don't really know much about it, and I don't want to like openly talk about it. But I do think there is some kind of a crossover, but what that crossover is, I don't know. But yeah.
Have you
Merle.
ever had a cryptid encounter?
What was that?
Have you ever had a cryptid encounter?
No, sadly, no. I want one. I think it'd be fun. I've been saying for like the last couple years that I want to go camping out in Appalachia and get like a cabin and just stay in the cabin all night. I just want to see if all like the stories are true, that you hear like all the yelling coming from night and like you see people in the trees. I don't want to actually like communicate with it and like go up to it. I just want to see if like the claims are true.
Isn't that where the melon heads live? Was in Appalachia?
I think so. I went down to the Mammoth Caves, so I was all about the Kentucky Goblins. I was trying to entice them to come out and hang out with me, but I couldn't find any. It was a bummer, but
yeah, I want to see the melon heads. Those stories are weird. On the that is Kentucky. No, it's Kentucky's Appalachia Mountains.
Yeah, it's like Kentucky. It goes down from like Allegheny County, so that's over by me. Like, I have to pass it whenever I go to Crescent. So somehow every time I go to Crescent or like come home through it, I have to go through Appalachia or like the Allegheny Forest, which is part of it, and it's always foggy. It's always in the middle of the night, and I always freak out. But yeah, I think it goes from Allegheny County all the way in Pennsylvania to West Virginia and then down to like Kentucky.
Wow. This question may be a little early, but I'm still going to ask it. Well, for us, spooky season's basically here already. Halloween. What are your Halloween plans?
Right now for actual Halloween, since it's Monday, I'm probably gonna stay home. We have a whole bunch of stuff we have a whole big party, so we have like, I don't know, like 15 houses that we pass candy out for at my parents' house. So we'll probably just do that. But as of right now, on the 29th, I will be at Wilson Castle with Haunted Nights events. We're going to be hanging out, investigating an old little castle out in the Vermont mountains. It's a lovely place, super, super cool. An underrated haunt for sure, but it's starting to come out into like the normal or out into like the limelight. Sam and Colby were there, so if people are big on YouTube, they were there exploring with Josh and Seth Borden. They were also there too, so it's starting to come out more. But that is definitely a spot I'm hitting up. And then earlier in the month, I will be at Fairfield County Infirmary, which goes hand in hand with Madison. So I'll also be back at Madison Seminary.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a very big spooky season.
As you move forward with your own adventures, right now you are continually, probably due to budget and opportunity, you're probably just kind of hanging on out, getting to the places you've always wanted to see in the United States. But where do you want to expand your horizons to on the paranormal world?
So I would really love to go overseas. I actually have an overseas trip planned. I planned it before COVID. I was supposed to go to Ireland, but then COVID ruined it. Bummer.
Classic.
And then
COVID was ruining everything.
Right. So with that trip, I ended up planning a trip to Romania to go hit up Dracula's Castle and to go see Hungary and Budapest, which I actually have family from. If people have been following me, they kind of know that I talked about this like giant Anne history book that I had from my mom's side. It goes back. It has like our immigration papers. It follows our family trees. There's death certificates in it. So I wanted to go back and like see some of the places that were in that book too. But then everything started happening with Ukraine. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to get back out there, but I definitely do want to go overseas. So right now I'm kind of looking into Ireland again. So I can hit up like Spike Island, Leap Castle, the Hellfire Club, go back to Dublin, have a few more pints, and, kind of just live my best life over there. But I definitely want to get back overseas.
Don't blame you. So I'm curious, because we all come from somewhere. We all come from a background that, outside of the paranormal. Your closest people around you, your parents, your friends, and everybody around you, what is their response to this addiction to the paranormal you have?
So my parents kind of embrace it. My mom has been one of my biggest supporters. Even since I was little, she was the one who like really helped me get into this because she loved it herself too. So she's been a number one supporter. My dad doesn't want to believe in it, but he's had experiences where he has to believe in it. So the family is pretty much like really, really great. So I give them props for that and for dealing with me traveling left and right and never being home anymore. But yeah, no one really has a stink. They don't want to go with me. So there's that. They much rather just like listen to me talk about everything like around like the campfire or something, but they definitely don't want to come out, even though I will make them one day. But yeah, they've just been really cool, and I'm really grateful for it.
What do you do when you've hit all of these places that you've wanted to hit? Because obviously you're a young lady with a bucket list. So once you've hit that bucket list, what do you do then?
I don't know. I'm just kind of riding it out and see what happens. I kind of want to keep going. I still want to experience all like the little haunts, no matter how big or small that they are. There is always a story to be told somewhere and somehow. So it's just a matter of finding that story that deserves to be told. So I think even after I hit all the bucket list places, I'm still going to find things to find an interest in and keep my interest in the paranormal going. Just because I hit one spot doesn't mean I said everything that's happened there. I'm always going to find something to talk about.
I like
No, and
returning to haunts. Oh, go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
No, please go ahead, Merle.
Oh, I was just going to say I love returning to I call it like repetitive haunts.
Yeah, it's so much fun because you never really know what's going to happen in like that first time. And I like to have that first time as a base and then kind of just compare every visit to the past visits. Because I mean, if you go to one spot and just investigate that one spot, you're not really going to understand its haunting, its stories, its history, all in that one night. And you're certainly not going to be able to see everything that a place has to offer in that one night. So like some of the big places you kind of have to go twice or 3 times or 5 times or however many times your heart is content to.
Absolutely.
Very true. Very true. Okay, so Europe, a bunch of other locations in the US, at some point you are going to, as most of us do as we age, you're going to want to expand your horizons. What's your next horizon that you're going to expand on in the paranormal?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I think I'm just going to let that one come to me. I think I'm going to let that little interest or like, that little interest come to me. Because if I go out searching for it, it's not going to be what I want it to be.
Okay, but from what you're not doing now, compared to what you see all other paranormal people doing, what would be in theory, what would be a logical first step for you or next step?
It would probably be going back into the theories and really examining the theories, like the stone tape theory, how energy is held into some like limestone and how that can help some paranormal hauntings. I think I would really want to go back into like these theories that are created and see, what actually holds up from them and what doesn't. I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
Merle, we've got 2 minutes.
You're onto something because it's something that we look into too about the whole you make your own ghost with your energy, or other energy imprints. I really want to explore that a lot more too. Are we doing that, or is Little Timmy real, or was the story of Little Tim? Maybe he is real, but we're giving him shots of adrenaline every time we're in there to grow him like a plant into something more than he actually is. And how much of that does our mind play with it?
Yeah. It would be really interesting to start seeing like how much your mind and how much your intent or the thoughts that you have in your mind, like how much they actually affect your paranormal experience. Because there are some times where you can go into a place with like no thoughts in your head and just kind of just experience it for what it is, and nothing happens. Or you're going into a place alone and you're filled with fear and you're filled with all these like fearful thoughts, that of something that could happen, and lo and behold, something does happen. So it would be interesting to like start doing things that way and start messing around and like creating scientific experiments, I guess you can say, to see, like what's true and what's not. But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
30 seconds here, Courtney. Tell everybody where they can find your information, your live streams, if you wouldn't mind.
So you can find me on TikTok, Instagram. I'm mainly on Instagram, But TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all under the Ghoul Guide. This weekend, I will be at Crescent Sanatorium down in Pennsylvania, and then at the Madison Seminary in Madison, Ohio. And I will probably be on Instagram Live a few times if I remember to go on and don't get too wrapped up into the investigation. But you can definitely check out some Instagram and TikTok lives.
Sweet. Merle, we'll see you next month, buddy. Thank you. Ghost of the Great White North with Merle from the Paranormal Road Trippers. Our special guest tonight, the Ghoul Guide, Courtney. Coming up next, Swamp Dweller joins us. Then it's off to little Timmy Senor and the UFO Report. All right, sweet show, guys. Sweet show.
Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. Even Dirty Filth is clapping as he draws an enigma there. An enigma.
It's good.
It's just a bunch of scribbles, really.
Looks like an enigma. All right, Merle. Talk to you later, buddy.
Good night.
Good night, Merle. Good night, Courtney.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Come on, Merlene. Oh, yeah, you already disappeared. I see little Timmy Senor hiding there in the background. Dirty Filth, it's all on you, buddy. Say hi to your fans.
I don't know if you guys can hear me with my mic. Stupid microphone. Nonetheless, I'm just scribbling some stuff here. I didn't know what to do at the end of the show, so I decided to scribble some more junk. After I'd sat there and stared at a piece of paper for a while, and everybody was talking about ghosts and things, so I'm just scribbling. There's a whole bunch of junk here. We got like a man in black, little skull, some hands, Kentucky Goblin, the gnome. There's me wondering, has this happened already? Because earlier I was thinking about, it was just a deja vu thing is what happened. So I was like, has this already happened? And I was thinking about it, so that's what I want to do. I guess I could scribble some more stuff here for a couple minutes till Dave gets back from his excursion. I'm not sure if the chat is up to date, but nonetheless, what can we draw here? Sometimes before the show, I just start with a whole bunch of like scribbles and circles and everything before I draw stuff, and then ideas come to my head after that. Like a Mothman of some sort. A quick Mothman out of nowhere. You know what? Actually, this Mothman, he totally drives the Dickie D. That's what he does. He's got the little ringer bells there. Gling, 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 gling. Totally drives the Dickie D thing there. It's a little chair, some feet pedal. Whoop. Sometimes a little too gentle with the pencil and everything falls over. And you know what? This is going to be from back in the day when I was a wee lad. When the Dickie D came around, he had all different types of UFO popsicles and ice creams and junk. And it was always in a tall sign that came up and over and across. And it was like that. And there he was. Then they started driving around with vehicles. That was weird. It was always just some guy on a bike. It's just weird that they would just throw some random guy on a bike, head out there and sell ice cream to people. They also had pictures of the side of it, but it was always the bells that were jingling. So I gotta make sure I mention that when I go to do the drawing. So some little bells. They look like Hershey's Kisses, actually, or I don't know, T-bone steaks hanging there. But I'll make sure I write bells there so I remember. This is the process of weird sketching that I do. You guys are looking at my brain right now. It's terrible. And there's a cat bothering me. Right, Blob? Yes. So that, look at that. That's next drawing. That's basically a Christmas time drawing because it's got ice in it. No, you can't call it because it's summertime drawing because it came up in the summertime. But nonetheless, Mothman. Oh, I can't even use the Dickie D because that was a company name. Plagiarism and all that such. The ice cream guy. Working title. Look at that. And guess who the first person that Mothman encounters? None other. He's sitting down there. Hello, Blob. Come on. There he is. The first person he encounters, first cryptid actually. It's totally going to be. Okay. Blob wants to go. Saunter over. Go saunter over, Blob. There you go. It's totally going to be cleaned up California Night Stalker. Ooh, and he's got his sweet date because he bought her I don't know, some kind of nice thing. And she gets a bow. It'll be like a spider web thing. Blob. Ugh. Spider-Man costume. There they are. They'll be in the city.
Looking good, dirty filth.
That's what it's going to be. You missed entire brain. It's the first day with my new mouth, Dave. Brain planning.
Did you melt down?
So somehow I had no idea what I was going to do. I was like, hey, there's a Mothman. He's going to be the Dickie D. Can't use that registered trademark.
Yeah. Well, you're that guy.
He's the ice.
Hey, Filth, I gotta put you on mute here, buddy, because it's time to go in 20 seconds. Thank you to Jank, D. Cohen, Thomas, X1, and Lala for the super chats tonight. We very much appreciate it. I got to get our store fixed. Apparently, our WooCommerce is down. That's the issue, our WooCommerce. So we'll get that fixed here soon. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Pactolian. Pactolian is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Hey everyone, it's time to head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller takes us on another journey of a spooky story.
Hi, Spaced Out listeners. It's time for your daily dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. A little background on the events I'm about to write about. This all happened in mid-October. My family owns about 160 acres of land in the middle of nowhere. Closest neighbor is a friend who let us rent the pasture for his cattle when he needs to. Some friends and I decided we wanted to build a little cabin out there and that we would hang out at it. So, one weekend, one of my friends and I loaded up a tractor we were renting from his dad and headed up out there. It was just me and him that weekend, as everyone else was busy. We got there a little late, since it took a while to get everything loaded and packed for the weekend. He sat about setting up the tent and I made our fire. As I did so, I made an odd discovery. There was a phone book from a few towns over, still in its plastic sleeve, right next to our fire pit. I picked it up and showed my friend. We both enjoyed scaring ourselves, and I made the comment that we aren't alone out here, and we both laughed at it. Later that night, we were setting up around the campfire, talking and BSing. There was a big bright moon that night, and a bit of breeze which made the whatever leaves were left rustle. It was a little creepy, but we enjoyed the atmosphere. We noticed, however, someone crossing through the middle of the field, their body just visible from the moonlight. At first, it was a little odd. My friend and I discussed for a few seconds if we should confront him, but I made the suggestion that he was probably just taking a shortcut across the field. Although I didn't really like it, it wasn't a huge deal. If we caught him doing it again, then we would confront him, we decided. The rest of the night passed pretty uneventfully. We eventually got in our tent and laid down. We were probably 20 or so feet from the fire pit, which was by that point burning quite low. We talked for a few minutes, and then we go silent, trying to fall asleep. As we're laying there, we hear something. It sounded like quiet footsteps walking around the fire pit. We both look at each other, silent. Then we hear a piece of wood getting thrown into the fire, and it flamed up quite a bit. I grabbed the shotgun I always kept in the tent and quickly racked it. We then heard someone run away, but by the time we got out, they were too far. The rest of the weekend was pretty quiet, and the events of the first night seemed kind of dreamy to us. We just cleared the area for the cabin and cut the stacked trees and cut them for the firewood. Next weekend, we get out there. My uncle was out there as well, and we went to check his game cams. This is where it got much more worrying for us. My uncle told us he was pissed because someone had stolen the batteries and SD cards out of the cameras. We told him about what happened the weekend before, and then parted ways. When we got out there, we noticed that quite a bit of our wood had been cut and stacked, and it was already gone. And we were the last people to camp out there, which means someone had come out of there and taken ourselves. When we went and checked the tractor, which we had left down there, we found it broken into, and the chainsaw which we had left had been stolen. To make a long story short, nothing else so far has happened. I was hesitant for a few weeks to continue with the cabin, since we weren't there all the time. I was worried if it would be an incentive for whoever was there to stay. I'm not sure if it was transient or local or who. If for some reason anything else happens, I'll definitely update.
We say thank you to Swamp Dweller tonight for another spooky story, and we always appreciate Swamp Dweller coming on in for those great stories. You could listen to them yourself. Go to youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads. Hit subscribe. He's got thousands of stories for you to choose from. All right. It is time once again.
Nobody's going to know.
They're gonna
Bring
know.
in Tim Senor and the UFO Report. Little Timmy Senor comes in a couple times a week, give us the update on what's happening around the UFO world. And I'll tell you, Tim, there's a lot of people talking about the Galileo project this week. Avi Loeb making his way onto a couple of podcasts to give people an update on what's going on with his group as they look into the stars, potentially for any potential life and even coming here. What's going on, buddy, before we get started? How you been?
Oh, I've been good, Dave. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Tomorrow, being my day off,
Yay.
I have to do an interview with Bigfoot Michigan Rob for a couple of hours, but I think I'm starting the wood pile tomorrow. And if I get to the wasp's nest, I promise you I will go live in my battle with the wasps. I will.
Excellent. I'm so looking forward to this. Yes, Waspocalypse.
Waspocalypse, if it happens, I think they're scared of me, Tim. I think they're scared. I think they know it's happening. I've put out the intention that they better be careful. And remember our bet that if I get stung just once, I owe you dinner. But if I don't get stung, you have to order up a pair of Dave Scott boxer shorts and wear them on this show.
Yeah, I could definitely do that for you, buddy. Here's the thing. You know, I don't want to see you get stung. I hope I lose. I really do. I hope you win. And you know what? Honestly, I'm probably going to have to order a couple other things off of your website, bud, because you got some pretty cool swag. I saw some high tops. I have my eyes on your high tops.
I know. I got to fix the WooCommerce, though, because I've had a lot of people, like even Grant and Terry, Grant from the After Hours and Terry, our business manager, who've tried to put in orders and they aren't going through. So I gotta figure out. Like I went to log into our WooCommerce account, and it's like showing that we don't even have an account. So I have to work on that tomorrow. I don't understand it. I don't get it, but hey, got to get it done, right?
Details, right?
Right. For non-computer guy. And if you've seen how convoluted and how impossible WooCommerce website is, you'll understand that my anxiety tomorrow is going to go through the bloody roof.
You should delegate this. This screams delegation all over it, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk to our web guy.
Good.
I'm going to talk to our web guy.
Good.
And hopefully he's not too busy to take my message and get through it. Hopefully.
There you go. Well, back to the news. I'll tell you what, I was excited to see Galileo Project back in the headlines. And so just to kick things off, the Galileo Project, obviously, as we know, is a scientific search program for extraterrestrial equipment near Earth. So the project was publicly announced 1 month after the ODNI report to the U.S. Congress about the unidentified aerial phenomenon program starting back in June of 2021. So the Galileo Project is a new type of research initiative, though. And so just to break that down, existing astronomical observatories target objects at great distances and have a limited field of view, limiting the amount of space that they can view in the sky. Whereas the Galileo Project aims to monitor the entire sky continuously and study fast-moving objects in the vicinity of the Earth. It's an astronomy project, since it analyzes data obtained by telescopes and searches for interstellar objects that originate outside the solar system. It's a novel observing strategy employing state-of-the-art cameras and computers. And so back in the news with some new pieces of this project, the Galileo Project's new novel cameras will monitor the entire sky in the optical, infrared, and radio bands, as well as in audio, magnetic field, and energetic particle signals. The data will be analyzed by artificial intelligence algorithms that will aim to catalog objects within the above-mentioned categories. So the initiative's new telescope system for the Galileo Project represents a brand new observatory design with unprecedented capabilities, and who knows what kind of new discoveries they'll come up with. So they're employing some pretty intense science here, Dave, some stuff that's a little bit out of the box, if you will, perhaps even fringe science, if I dare to say it. What's your reaction? How do you feel about this? Are you excited?
I am excited about this, and I will tell you why. When Avi Loeb from Harvard University came out in 2017, 2018, when Oumuamua was flying by, he was brave enough to say to his fellow scientists and astrophysicists, we don't know what this is. We can't classify it as a meteor or an asteroid because it's not acting like one that we have ever seen or recorded. And he said, maybe, just maybe, this could potentially be a spacecraft flying through our solar system. And he took a lot of heat over this, Tim. You know that anybody who's followed the history of Avi Loeb in this field knows he took a lot of heat over that. You know, people laughing at him, people saying, "Are you crazy? Like, come on, Avi, like get your head out of your butt. You know, aliens aren't traveling here and there's no evidence, there is no proof." But he stuck to his guns, Tim. He stuck to his guns, and you know what? I think it paid off. I did. And then he put a powerhouse team together of scientists, of government officials, which we now know as the Galileo Project. And he is turning up the jets because he wants to see what else is out there. And look, I may not agree with a lot of his picks. I don't think Lou Elizondo should be there. I don't think Chris Mellon should be there. There's no need for them. I don't think the head of SETI research, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, which is a NASA-funded program, Seth Stoshak, should be there. I don't believe that at all. But you know what? We could nitpick anybody. Hey, I'm a sports fan. I could go on my teams of choice and say, what the hell is this guy doing here? Why did we pick up that guy? Why don't we have enough players like this? You know, we're never going to fully agree on what is going on. However, Loeb has the right idea and the right actions, and he's getting money to support this cause. As long as they keep focused, that is going to be wonderful. The other issue that I have with this entire project, Tim, is, and I'm curious your opinion on it as well. What scares me about the Galileo Project is every time one of these groups comes out, Tim, one of the things that they say to the public is we have to be transparent. We have to keep the public in mind. We have to keep the public open to our findings, and we're going to talk to the public, and we're going to be open and honest and everything you would want to hear on a Tinder account, okay? And yet, we don't know what they're going to keep from us. We don't know what's going to get into the hands of the public if they find anything, or what's going to go straight into the government coffers. Because in the end, no matter what we say, Tim, and no matter how good the intentions are, it comes down to money, it comes down to funding, and it comes down to the fact that Avi Loeb has added a lot of people with NDAs who have a very specific interest in this category.
Yeah. And that's a lot of opinion and a lot to unpack. But just to start off, I agree with you on a lot of this. However, a lot of it, I do have some alternate opinions for you. So
And I want to hear them.
Let's dig in. So to start off, I definitely feel like this is a well-timed program. So the temperature is perfect for something like this to get funded and put together. And we know that Avi is a very creative, out-of-the-box thinking individual. We've seen him in the public purview plenty. He's done lots of interviews on how he plans to move forward with the project, the fact that he's using students and interns. I feel that's a part of his transparency, if you will, because those students are pivotal to his work. And so, again, a lot of his things are public. Every move that he makes is really public. So I feel that's a huge move towards transparency, no matter who he brings on his team. And so moving into, obviously, his choice in accepting help, I feel that that's absolutely necessary for somebody that is delving into a topic that is probably a little bit new to him, being an astronomer and a physicist. So, you know, you need to have skeptics on board, someone like Seth that has never seen evidence in his research that he speaks of, in his search for extraterrestrial intelligence, using his big ear radios and things across the planet. I think he's almost necessary for the team, because when they do come up with data, he's going to be the first person that would be sourced for an opinion. Even if he wasn't a member, I feel he would have an opinion the same way we'll see a lot of people come out of the cracks with an opinion.
Can I cut you off there for a second? Because
Sure,
I think
please.
I think a better choice for the Galileo project, instead of Seth Stoshak, would have been Mark D'Antonio from MUFON.
Totally agree.
I mean, if you have an opportunity, Mark is very skeptical. He will break down everything to the most minute details. But you know what? He is still under the assumption that there's something here coming here, and he is seeing as much video and photographs that he has broken down for MUFON and other groups out there. To me, Mark D'Antonio is the right choice for that, not Seth Stoshak. I'm sorry about that.
No, open to evidence is an important aspect of being a scientist and being a part of the scientific method. You know, taking on data that you may not like the flavor of is part of this. And so I'm not saying, I don't know Seth, and I would assume that he's probably open to data, but he probably looks at it from a very, let's just say he's seen a lot of data over the years, that he's had to scrutinize. He's looking for the signal. He wants to be the guy to run the ball through the touchdown goal, but it's just he hasn't found it using the source and methods that he's using. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't other sources and methods that we can use. So he'll look at that. It's not necessarily radio waves. Now, as far as my understanding goes, Galileo Project is independently funded by anonymous individuals. And so I'm pretty sure that whatever that means, benefactors, it's led to independent funding, quote unquote. So, we don't have governmental control here. This is a project that's being as transparent and led by a group of individuals that hope for transparency, I think, as much as possible. Now, having people like Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon involved, I think, is probably par for the course, because they would probably be the people that would know what to rule out, let's just say. So you could run it by Lou and he'd be like, shrug and be like, let's not worry about this one because maybe it's one of ours. You know what I mean? He may know about what's flying that we don't need to worry about. So why not have somebody that's in the know, that has the NDA, that can just check it off and be like, let's just not worry about that. He doesn't have to give an explanation to that group, right? He can keep his NDA. So I think having somebody like that understands what's flying that may be ours is crucial. So I understand why he's there. Having a balance of skeptics, neutral people, and then people that believe, obviously. And I'm not, I think Grant Cameron would be a great person to have on that team, whether he's being sourced or not. But I think somebody that understands what the reality potentially of what the truth is, if this is the truth of UAP, UFO, like he needs to be there representing that, because you need every aspect of it. And I'm not sure who's representing the experiencer, perhaps, because there should be an experiencer within that group. We've seen that can be pretty important. Now, there may be experiencers in there, but we don't publicly know of any within this group. But transparency is obviously a big ticket item within Galileo Project. And so I do see potential red flags, but all we can do is wait and see. We're starting to see some photographs roll out, some imagery, but no opinion yet behind any of the image or any data, but we're starting to see something. Where do you sit on all of that, Dave?
Well, I understand your points. I really do. And, especially the one with Elizondo, that makes sense to me. And Mellon. Okay, but what scares me about them, as we got about 20 seconds here, and this isn't a shot at Elizondo or Mellon. You know I'm a fan of both of them. All right. But there is a chance, guys, that they could say, you know what? We don't want that one getting out to the public. It's more than just focused him saying, you know, that's ours. Let's just keep that one away. Transparency is equal to disclosure. And if you're not going to have both, this is just another lost cause. We're going to continue with Tim Senor and the UFO report. And when we return, mysterious spheres seen in the skies around the world. We'll learn it next. But I do want to see Avi Loeb make an absolute fool out of Neil deGrasse Tyson. I do. And there's, you know, deGrasse Tyson has made a mockery of what we do and what we talk about for years now. He, especially the last few years, you know, he's been very condescending about this entire subject and the evidence and the people involved. And that smug attitude, and it has nothing to do with his brilliancy. You don't get a job like that unless you are brilliant. Okay? And I think you would agree with me on that. But the smug attitude towards the UFO field and the researchers and the evidence, whether it's on video, whether it's governmental, whether it's anecdotal, it goes against the grain that everything science stands for. And the idea that Avi Loeb has the exact same education and is not a dummy. People, you don't, you know, when Harvard calls you, you're one of the best of the best of the best. And when they call you to teach at their program, you have to be in that top 1% of 1% in order to get a job there. Because A, it's big money, and B, they want the best. And they will scour the world. Ivy League schools will scour the world for the best.
And it's an old school way of thinking, really, is what it is. It's the old school way of thinking where you're labeled something if you think a certain way. You know, the same thinking where we saw Carl Sagan's 180-degree complete flip, where he suddenly just stopped talking about life outside of our solar system or off of our planet. You know, Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of does the same thing, where it's a topic he would love to avoid, really, because I'm sure offline he ponders this deeply. But, you know, some people are still stuck by the old ways of thinking and the old math and the very old physics. And so if you can't get past the fact that we may be dealing with a math and physics we don't even know yet, you know, and a lot of this isn't something that we can just simply explain away, no matter how much science we throw at it. It's going to be frustrating for people that are looking for that, you know, hard science data answer. Like, there isn't one answer for this. It's a phenomenon. It's not just one thing, you know. And so Carl Sagan, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and potentially even Seth Shostak, because I understand he's a hardline skeptic, but he does want there to be that existence, you know, obviously. But again, he hasn't seen the evidence. And so these people have formed a hard, not even a theory, really. I think that they've proven it to themselves. So now they're just trying to explain everything away that comes to them, you know, as a skeptic would, or even a debunker, I guess we could even say would. Do you have a fly or something zooming around in there?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
Probably.
I keep seeing a flash of white, like, zip past your camera.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh,
you
yeah.
got wasps. they're buzzing you.
Hey, it's little Johnny Davies. What do you say here? Avi Loeb said in a private meeting he would shoot them down to get a hold of one. Elizondo put his hand in his hands. What else do you know there, little Johnny Davies? Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think shooting one down is A, that simple, or B, something you'd want to do necessarily, I don't, I'm not saying they come in peace, but I'm not saying that there's a they. I don't even understand it yet. But I wouldn't go shooting at them. A random light in the sky, that's just silly.
No.
Yeah, why would you?
No, why piss them off?
Well, you're going out there with some... You are the perfect example. You're going out back with a spray gun just to soap water, and you're literally going at the hornet's nest. You are Avi Loeb right now.
I am Avi
Loeb. It's your backyard, and it's a wood pile.
Yeah,
you're poking the hornet's nest.
I'm gonna kill him.
Well, I hope that you and Avi both succeed.
Avi is after a Nobel Prize. He has a huge ego. I suspect Vasco will beat Avi to the proof. There we go. We got 9 seconds here. Thank you, Twigbird, Lala, X1, Thomas, D. Cohen, and Ghostly for the super chats. Here we go. We're on the third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. All right, Tim Senor is here for the UFO report, and we're going to get into a story of people around the world seeing mysterious objects in the sky. Tim, break this down for us.
That's right. Mysterious spheres are falling from the sky all around the world as recently as last month. And so this phenomenon has been observed for hundreds of years. But what kind of metal balls are they? And where are they coming from? Still remains a mystery. Just as recently as July 31st, another mysterious sphere fell in Mexico. The inhabitants of Veracruz watched a ball fall from the sky, the material of which was purely visually determined to be a metal or hard plastic. The ball has a yellowish color and some kind of process resembling an antenna. Local residents were forbidden to approach the crash site, and the military quickly took the ball and examined the crash site, but no comments have yet been made about what it is. So prior to this, the fall of this was observed in 1966 in Arkansas. Another object resembling a sphere fell before the eyes of eyewitnesses from an absolutely clear sky. The ball had a diameter of about 30 centimeters. And then again, in 1963, 3 similar balls were found in an Australian desert, and all of them had absolutely no damage. In 1969, Argentine researcher A. Schneider demonstrated a similar ball with a diameter of 22 centimeters found in Argentina. In front of journalists, cameras, and onlookers, he unsuccessfully tried to damage the surface of the ball for about half an hour, but no mechanical action left even a scratch on the surface of the sphere. Some believe that the sphere may be part of some satellite or other flying machine or mechanism. However, there is no evidence of a ball falling from the sky in 1802. There is evidence of another ball falling from the sky in 1802 near Leiden in Netherlands, when the sky was not yet mastered by men. So local residents found a metal ball on the field and took it to Leiden University, which was quite advanced for those times. Scientists could not understand what kind of ball it was and from what it was. It was kept at the university until the Napoleonic soldiers dragged it away, after which the trace of the mysterious ball was lost. And so, again, in 1974, Mr. Betts in Florida found a large ball discovered near a terrible forest fire not far from his home. But the man threw the object into the car and brought it home. The metal ball this time was 20 centimeters and behaved very strangely in his presence in the house, and it caused an inexplicable restless behavior of his dog. If you pushed the ball, it would automatically change its trajectory so as to return back to its original point. So these balls are falling from the sky for years, and even again, similar balls fell again in 2000 in Australia and Africa. Metal spheres fell in both Vietnam and Peru in 2018 and 2022. They were designated as satellite fuel tanks, but the discussion of these events on the network have left many people doubting this version of the truth. Dave, have you heard of this story before?
I have just started in the last couple of days seeing it hit my feed on social media. And, I think Ross Coulthard did a story on this for one of the Australian news networks, where they're looking at these orbs, these silver orbs that, look just about as big of a bowling ball, if not a little bigger. And, I look at it as this. Are these scouts? Are they new human suborbital, is that the right term? Suborbital
Yeah.
scouts or satellites to spy on people or bases, because everything with humanity in the sky seems to have wings. However, these are just round orbs, or are they something else? And this is where I'm kind of a little confused by it all, because I really don't know what to make of this, Tim. I don't.
I don't either. I absolutely don't. And the fact that they happened before man even mastered the skies, and recorded in history, I think weighs in pretty heavily as this being something kind of phenomenal, right? And some of the more recent ones really looked bizarre, yellow in color with an antenna on it. And that's just strange. And for them to just randomly fall into the desert in Australia, in the middle of nowhere in Africa, that tends to make me think it could be something that has fallen off of something, but it doesn't have any break-off points. They're perfectly round, and they appear to, literally have no rivets, just char marks as they've fallen through the atmosphere to Earth. So absolutely bizarre, a phenomenon by far, and I really can't wrap my head around it. If it's not man-made, I can't understand how naturally that could be happening. Do we get spherical meteorites like that? That's not, something we get, is it?
Round. This is the problem. They are perfectly round. There's very few scratches on them, let alone dents or anything that would take away its circular pattern.
Right. And in one of these that I found here, a detailed study showed that the ball has as many as 4 magnetic poles, creates a magnetic field around itself, and emits radio waves. And inside it has 3 or more spherical elements. It's supposedly made out of steel, but with an admixture of some unknown element. So there's balls inside the ball, and you can hear them when you roll it around. There's magnetic anomalies around it, and it has its own magnetic poles. So a compass points to it if you hold a compass near it, which is just kind of a mind blower. I don't know how that works naturally, or even if you could create something like that.
What are you thinking, Tim? Do you think this is extraterrestrial?
Well, I'm trying to think how it could happen in nature, because I think a lot of phenomenon is natural. This doesn't feel or sound like something natural. If it was steel, I would go man-made. But the fact that it's an admixture of a few elements, that tells me it's something else, potentially, because alloys typically are either definitely manipulated or natural, right? But they can happen naturally, but steel does not happen naturally. You're not getting natural steel. So, I mean, how would it end up falling in the middle of nowhere? Was it kicked off the space station as a test? Do we drop things out of satellites to test velocity? And are these a weapons test of some sort being dropped in on our planet from something roving around? Or is it absolutely like what you're saying, something phenomenal that's poking at us as the hornet's nest and taking a look at us? Maybe it is demonstrating something otherworldly. We just don't know. They seem to just be crashing to Earth. What's your gut?
I don't know. I don't think it's something naturally made. It's too round. Okay, we haven't seen anything fall from space that is a perfect orb. I think this is one of two things, and I'm leaning towards some sort of humanized experimentation, maybe environmental experimentation, or something along those lines. Maybe it's military, or it's extraterrestrial. That's where I would lean with it. That's where I feel comfortable going. But then again, everything with me, Tim, is always aliens.
It's a possibility. It's always a possibility with you, at least. So that's fair.
Which leads us to topic number 3.
Indeed. Indeed, it does. And so I will go ahead and just bring that up, which is what makes somewhere a UFO hotspot. This was a question that came up to me because I claim to know about hotspots, right? And so I was like, that's a great question. Is it a hotspot to an individual? Is it a well-known thing? Is it something that groups of people say and see, or is it something historical? How is something proved out? So Dave, why don't you kick it off with what you think a hotspot is, and kind of maybe even the textbook definition, because I'm sure you're an expert. And then I'll kind of give you what my experience has been investigating them.
I think there's hot spots all over. I think it has to do with ley lines. I think it also has to do with people who are gathering into certain areas to call the phenomena in. All right. You look at Sedona, Arizona. It's a very unique spiritual town. They seem to have a lot of hot spots. First Nations wise in Utah, where you were in the Uinta Basin. All right. There's a lot of magic happening there. And there's a lot of energy of people working on the phenomena that would bring it in. Okay. You look at where I live here in British Columbia, where near Vancouver, you have a couple things going on. You have a hotspot of black triangles in what they call the Fraser Valley, which is just southeast of Vancouver. You also have, if you follow David Politis, the missing 411 phenomena. The number 2 spot in North America for missing people is the Cascade Mountain Range from Vancouver and Whistler all the way down to Mission, British Columbia, where I used to live. People just vanish. I think there are these spots right around the world that have some sort of energy barriers. You look at the forest in Romania where nothing grows, yet if you sit in the middle of that circle, in the middle of the forest, there's something demonic or evil that's going to come and get you.
Japan has one too.
Japan. I mean, you look at all the people who use the suicide forest in Japan.
Yeah.
Why?
At the base of Mount Fuji.
Yeah, they are attracted to the energy of death there. The world has all of these super spots, Stonehenge, pyramids, and I think they are energy sources that allow whatever the phenomena is to be attracted. But don't kid yourself here for a second. I think these can be created, Tim. If you bring enough people, and when I'm saying enough, I'm not saying 40, 50, 60, 100, 1,000 people. But if you get 4 or 5 or 10 people together with all of the same thinking in meditation, you can manifest. You can manifest encounters, paranormal, supernatural, ufological. You can manifest them. And I think you can open up these areas anywhere.
Yeah. You're absolutely right on everything you just said. That was all 100. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And I love what you're saying about ley lines, and that the people and intention, are important. Places, spiritual locations, having energy. I love that. There are definitely energy centers all over the globe, proven by the ancients. If ancient people were gathering there and there's ley lines and some kind of stone formation or artwork, more than likely you're looking at a place of special energy, like quite literally. And, a lot of these energies were designed to be portals, and people believed all kinds of things with portals. Or vortexes, I think they were called, or Zendra, Xendra, I believe is another name for it, south of the border there. And so you're absolutely right. And I also think that there's different hotspots for different phenomenon types. So, for example, like you're saying with David Paulides, places where people go missing, perhaps in these high energy vortexes, maybe, but also, like you're saying, locations where Bigfoot is spotted, or dogmen, or ghosts, even in the city, a location in the city somewhere that's just known as being a haunted house or haunted graveyard or something, for whatever reason. And then there's also the element of the occult that comes into that, because obviously energy sources were used for both positive and negative, so it's interesting. But those hot spots were always sourced for one reason or another. And lately, with the interest of UFO, hotspots are now kind of being sourced to find evidence for UFO. And so that's what, my personal experience has been, that I stumbled upon here in Oregon, a hotspot. And I wasn't sure at first whether it was just me, or if it was the team I went with, or the time of day, or if it was just the location. But I'm starting to realize that you're absolutely right. It wouldn't matter whether it was me or you or someone that didn't believe it's still taking place. It's just somebody that knows what to look for is more likely to come away with evidence, because that light in the sky might mean something different to both of us. Right. And so again,
right there too.
Yeah. And so a hotspot again would be up to interpretation and the data that you're gathering from that hotspot. So it's a loose term, but I can definitely say that what I personally would consider a hotspot is somewhere that delivers consistent data, whether it may not always be the same, but it gives me information constantly, whether it's coming from the sky or the ground or the water or the people around just sensing things. I think all of that is information, and especially in the Uinta Basin, we found that a lot of that data was migratory. So,
Really?
we would find, so the phenomenon would kind of follow in kind of waves. It wouldn't necessarily be the same time of day, but we would get magnetic spikes in a field that we had been out there getting no spikes, nothing at all, just all base readings, ground readings. We'd go out one afternoon, massive spikes. And sure enough, later that day, we'd be capturing stuff all over the place and having weird experiences all around us. You know, and you'd kind of feel it. It would be like, I don't know, a little bit hard to explain. And this kind of digs into the fringe a little bit. What you would call woo, I call fringe. And it's the same thing. It's just, you know, when the hair stands up on the back of your neck and you're just kind of like, you're in a groove. You don't have to really plan things out. Things start to happen around you and you start to go into kind of like a more document phase. And you know what I mean? Where you're just like, okay, I need to get ready for something. And so you start rolling cameras and you're just like, well, I don't know. And, you know, it's just one of those things. It's kind of hard to explain. The whole team experiences it at the same time, like you said, as a group. And so sometimes a hotspot. Please.
You brought up a good point, though, Tim. And I don't even think you said it. And that is that a hotspot for me may not be a hotspot for you when you're here with me. I may see action all over the place. You see nothing. And vice versa if I'm at your hotspot.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think intention plays deeply into it, you know, and I always make sure to have on board somebody that hasn't had an experience in the world yet. You know, just because I've seen something, I kind of know what to look for and I can capture it relatively easily. Somebody that may not know what to look for, hasn't had an experience, simply doesn't know what to look for. And so they don't have the experience that I do, even if I point it out. You know, and that in itself is data.
I can see that. I can completely see that. Tim, we got about 35 seconds left in tonight's show. You know, hotspots. What give me one or two things that people should look for in a UFO hotspot?
Right. Well, typically it'll have a history. And so whoever has lived in that area, there'll be a written history of it. So research the area absolutely before you consider something a hotspot. If the ancients walked there and considered it something important, then you can probably bet that it is still. You know, that's a great roadmap. Ley lines are a great roadmap. And then again, just searching MUFON. Like you can kind of just go to MUFON's website and you can look at a current hotspot map, right? Just current sightings. And this is another great tool. Going online and looking at UFO tracking, which is all available on the internet, and it'll just show you current hotspots.
Very true. And as Jonathan says, true experiencers are beacons or a lighthouse that create personal hotspots. That's exactly right. Little Johnny Davies. Thank you, Tim. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your car, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat room tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, yep, we've got room for them too. Good night, everyone. Once again, I'll say it again, and I say it a lot. We got the best freaking theme song in radio.
Yeah, dude.
We
Yeah.
do.
You're so lucky.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Hey, that was a fun show tonight. Great
That was a
guest.
good show.
You had a good guest tonight too. Really great.
Mm-hmm. Hey, little Terry Hall, I will call you in the morning. I have a couple of ideas. Call you in the morning. What will I call you? Terry Brown. It's true. No, not Terry Brown, because that's one of
Terry
our
Hall.
lists. Terry Hall,
Terry
I'll
Hall.
call you.
He's
That'll
a
be
good
true.
baby. He's a good
So
baby. Yeah.
Get this. So, reminder to all of you that Grant Baker will be filling in for me on Friday night with the crypto guru Ronald Murphy as his guest. And if you know the guru time, you know that he'll go 3 hours. You know he will. And
Do I have the night off then?
no, Guru just loves the show.
Oh.
He doesn't know when to, and he beautifully does not know when to shut up because he
that's
gets so
good.
enamored by these topics. It's a beautiful, beautiful interview, man.
We love that. We love that.
Excuse me. So we have Grant filling in for me, and I will be on my way south to go to my well, not little because he's like 6'4", to my nephew's birthday.
Right.
Birthday? Where the hell a
No,
birthday?
It's a
Wedding.
reveal. Gender reveal, I thought.
No, that's Sunday.
Oh, okay. Boy, you're doing stuff. You're fighting wasps. You're seeing babies, whatnot.
And this is where all of you can cheer me on for once, okay? Because I know I give a lot of gruff. I take a lot of gruff. But everybody needs to cheer me on here for a second. Because on the way south, there's a Taco Bell.
I knew you were going to say that. I just needed to point out the fact that I feel it's really not PC or inappropriate or appropriate to be doing gender reveals on babies. I mean, what is it with pictures? I don't get it. They draw like
I don't understand it either. I really don't. I asked my daughter today, okay? I said, why do you want
really
to
inappropriate?
Time to let all the family know. I said, well, do you already know? She goes, yeah. I said, what the hell? You just don't call me and tell me. Good enough.
Well, I
Good
mean,
enough.
I'm just saying in this day and age, come on.
And some of
Gender
these
doesn't matter.
I
It should
agree.
just be a baby. It should be a baby reveal party. She's just like, here he is, and she shows everyone her stomach. That's it. It's a baby reveal party. I'm sorry. I'm a skeptic.
Yes, and I will be running into the emergency dink this weekend.
Oh, give him a low 5 from me.
So I'm going to go buy my nephew 2 cigars. One to smoke before his wedding, and one to save for his divorce. You know,
that's so messed up.
Yeah, that's
Super
Uncle Dave.
Up.
That's Uncle Dave.
And then one of them should say an emergency break glass.
He understands all too well Uncle Dave's sense of humor. You know,
yeah.
I'll probably end up getting him a flask and because you got to get him something special. That's your nephew, you know.
Yeah.
You just can't throw $100 in a card and say, "Hey, good enough."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, and just throw his gift in an old Taco Bell bag from the backseat of your car.
Maybe you have to. Hot damn, I screwed up here already. Yeah, I screwed up here already. Forgot. Thanks, Merle. Thanks, Merle. Appreciate you. You know what I did? I forgot because Merle decided to swear during the show. And so I now have to edit that out, and I forgot to edit it. Thank you, Merle. Appreciate that.
Naughty. That was naughty.
So now I got to bring these two back in here. And now I've got to cut them. So it was at the 12-minute mark.
Story versus the possible embellished. Like, I want to hear everyone had an experience there. Whoever I don't know if you've ever been on that road when you grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Been up there many times.
Yeah. No, and especially, and like, we have another one coming up in September where that one, Dave.
No.
Do you want to come?
No, I'm not. I'm not having a sympathy invite. Oh, you're an experiment kind of guy. Who's joining you on that one's wedding this weekend? Because I have, and that which. Oh.
Yay! Awesome.
All right, Courtney, we got a few.
I thought you'd be busy, Dave.
Hold on, now I got time to say. Okay, that starts at 9:06, 9:08, 9:10, 9:12. Should be around here. That he borrowed from you on your truck.
The door did open. Can we 100% call it evidence? No, but could it be something? Absolutely. So I guess yes, technically.
How can you even call? Hold on a second here. The door opens on its own. The draw, aka bingo, doesn't open the door. Okay, it opens the door, and you're wondering, geez, no, we didn't get any evidence. Gee, Jason Hawes, no wonder you didn't catch anything in 15 years.
Okay, fair enough. We had a demon. No, it was pretty cool. Like investigations for down there. A static sound on our audio.
My goodness. I mean, Merle, that's just great, and I love the fact you personally up the tension. I think it's abs. Oh my gosh!
Actually, the Mandy video,
great comment from YJ Overlander in our chat room. Chills sounds like when you play Ozzy Osbourne. Love your name. How you doing? Paranormal channel is called Chills, and if you ever heard his voice, it drives you absolutely nuts and wants to make you run your head through a wall. But nonetheless, he's got over 5.5 million subscribers, and he contacted on your truck.
The door did,
been up there many times.
A true crime,
and that beautiful streak is coming to an end this weekend. What drives you?
Field and investigate
on our audio.
Getting pissed off. My goodness. I wrote it down, 9:12. He says shitty.
Want to capture the story more on that one.
And you also had a haunted picked up by
basically kind of out of our comfort zone. What we usually do is just your standard historical ghost hunting and all that sort of stuff. But we really kind of captured the urban legend. And we were very transparent. We didn't get any evidence. We got nothing. And we still posted the video just to show that not every ghost hunt gets evidence.
Well, I thought you did get something because Paranormal thought there was something to do. The door opens on its own. The draw.
My audio. There were two audio discrepancies.
Have fun this weekend.
Oh, I will. That's why I'm getting Taco Bell.
Well, stay in touch, man. I'm going to dip out. I want to thank your audience for having me. It's been fun. Thanks for listening. And Dave, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Have a great night. Take care, audience. Bye-bye.
Bye. Little Timmy Senor, everybody. I have to find this audio here. Right long here. Then in hour number, looking for Android on Ghosts of the Great Whites, you will.
And so forth.
It's one of the games we play here, my friend, on Spaced Out Radio. Now, Merle, you, before we bring in the lovely Courtney here to speak with us, you recently have been doing some serious trending.
Mandy the Haunted Doll want us to come up.
400,000 views.
We had a video on Instagram. They reached out to us and challenges. Ghost hunting, transparent. We did ghost hunt.
On the Chills video, if you ever heard it, with one of the doors on your truck.
The door did open thing.
Gee, Jason Hawes, no wonder you didn't catch it. Much better.
What is it?
I don't know.
No, it was pretty cool. Like,
much better.
What is it? And it followed me home, and here we are.
Better.
This is the not great onboard camera microphones. Camera. So, sorry, Dave. Investigations to get rid of the shitty onboard camera. So, get rid of the shitty onboard. Get rid of the shitty onboard. Shitty.
Playing games. There's no.
I think that's the best evidence I've ever captured on film was Sandra's hair getting like something moves her hair. That was.
There's no playing games. There's no. It's absolutely backwards. Yes, he does. Oh my! It's absolutely great when you hear that. And by the way, great comment from YJ Overlander in our chat room. No fake evidence or anything like that. And I think it's great. I think it's
the Mandy video. I think that's the best evidence I've ever captured on film was Sandra's hair getting like something moves her hair.
No evidence. Hey,
or kind of like a static sound on. I know. I don't know how I did that. Oh, sorry, Dave. I know. I don't know how I did that. But get rid of the shitty onboard cam. The onboard camera. So sorry, Dave. I know. I don't know how I did that.
You ever notice that Merle? I love Merle. Okay, I do. He's my best friend. Have you ever noticed that Merle always says every month, I don't know how I did that. Don't know how I did that. How did that come out? And yet, every month, Merle drops a swear word. I think he's just a potty mouth. Damn Merle. Likes putting me to work. Hey, Joe, he's up on 416. He's a good listener, dude. I thought you meant the new dating sites were yours. 416. Oh, the horses in the chat room, please. Dave's just trying to get through the night innocently. Ding, 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 ding. God, I'm so behind right now. Hold on. Let's see what we can find here. Let's go to Africa. Oliphant's River. I got nothing. Let's go to Tembe. What's happening at Tembe? We got some like kudu. Nothing really. All right. See what else we have here. Let's go to Civiti and their watering hole. Nothing. Hold on, I'm working here. I am working. Working. I didn't go to live. That's why. You doughhead. Let's go to Cat Eye, which never has anything. Once again, has nothing. Except that one time when we had all the elephants there. There was like 21 elephants. Let's go to Tao. See if we're going to see any drunken zebras and spiked up wildebeest. Hold on. I got to show you guys this. What the hell? Hey, Amber. They're panning. They're just panning. That bird is trying to act like that rock there. Come on, where's the drunk zebra? Oh, sorry, wrong screen. Cut. Nothing. All right, let's find something else. Let's go live. Come on, live. Let's go to Namibia. Well, that's in the Kalahari. Yeah, they never show sweet FA there. Coro. Nothing. Oh, we got an ostrich. Look at that. We got an ostrich. Yay. We'll learn it next. About time we saw something new. Wait 2 seconds, people. For fuck's sakes. What did I miss? 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Another 4. You piece of poo. All right. There we go. All right. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Excuse me. All right. Bear with me. Oh, it left. Darn it. I'll get to that in a minute. Well, there it is again. All right. Enough, Joe, in 416, please. Yentry. What's going on, Yentry? You know what? Let's do this. Yentry. With a soft J. What are you still doing awake? How big that bird is. Just scoops up that water. If you look closely, you can actually see the water going down its neck. It's actually kind of cool. Hey, William Schaffstall, how you doing? Really appreciate it. Those are very kind comments. Very kind comments. Thank you. And you're more than welcome to join us in our chat room at any time, my friend. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, let's get that one started. And that's enough water. All right, let's see what else we got out here. That one's getting boring. Let's go to Rosie's pan. See what's happening here. Oh, look at that. There we go. Look at that big ass there. I like big butts and I cannot lie. No elephant can deny. Oh, what's this over here? What is that? There's an animal there, like a warthog or something. What is that? It looks like a warthog. Yeah, see? Right there, walking through. Trying to sneak up and get some water. Right in the bushes there. See the elephant? He heard it. Saying, hey, buddy, you don't want to mess with me. Okay, give me 2 seconds here. I just got to do this. There you go. Shack Valet. What's happening? Hi, Bomber. What's happening? Gotta love the elephants. The guy's having fun. I want to see him go for a dip. Walk right in there and go for a dip. To me, that would be exciting. All right, we are done for the night. Big thank you to Jake D. Cohen, Thomas X1, Lala, Twigbird, and Catfish for the super chats tonight. Tomorrow night on the show, Connor Flynn is back with his beautiful hair to talk about Sasquatch in Florida. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow night. I want to say a big thank you to everybody tuning us on in, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.